What's up, YouTube? I'm Robert, and this is the B1KER Bar Podcast live stream. Oh, that doesn't get old. I love saying it. Anyways, we're on episode 68. I got Tony from the Outsider MTB channel. This is going to be a fun one. He's from SoCal, so we're going to have a little NorCal SoCal battle or something like that. I don't know. Either way. So the first things first, let's go ahead and run through all this. Do you guys all use Instagram? If there's anybody that doesn't use Instagram, just let me know in the comments, because I don't believe it. Maybe I bet it seems like there's a split. Like there's like a certain age group that you have to be on Facebook and a certain age group that you can be on both. So I don't know. You guys let me know. Anyways, if you're on there, Facebook or Instagram at B1KER, that's the place to check it out. You can see all the pictures that I post and little tidbits. And if not, I don't know why you wouldn't do it. It doesn't seem like it's a big deal. Just go over there, hit the button, follow me. That'd be great. I would appreciate it. If you enjoy the podcast, like it, please hit the thumbs up button. That does wonders for the YouTube algorithm or something to that effect. The subscribe button, though, is the one I really care about. If you guys enjoy this and you want to keep seeing me do this, hit the subscribe button, because honestly, I haven't been seeing a lot of subscribers lately. And if I don't get enough, I'm only doing this for this year. And if I don't get enough subscribers, I'm gonna tank it again, because it's a lot more fun sitting on the couch watching football on Sundays, especially this time of year. So hit the subscribe button, please, and then I will know you guys enjoy this, and then I'll keep doing this stuff. If you guys throw up a super chat while you're at it, or while we're at this, I don't always get a chance to say thanks, and sometimes I can type one out real quick while I'm talking, but sometimes it doesn't play out that way. So if you guys throw one up, I appreciate it. It really helps the channel. It keeps the beer fridge full. Otherwise, I wouldn't have all these beautiful beers that I drank in the background there. It wouldn't be there if it wasn't for guys doing super chats or the sponsors of the show, those guys over there on Patreon. If you want to join Patreon, it's $1 a month. It's like, I say this every week, man. You go to the bar, you buy a beer, you give that bartender $1 for just pouring your beer. Sometimes he doesn't even have to pour it. Just open the cap, hands it to you. That's worth $1. You sit here and listen to this show for 2 hours every week. That's worth $1. And if you do that, I got coupons on there from the different companies that I've interviewed or that I've worked with, and you can save some money too. If you want to really support the channel, you can hit the $5 spot, and that'll get you a sticker pack as well. I'm working on this new spot, this new tier that's going to be like, you get like the boatload box of biker swag. And it's just taken some time to order it all. And this stuff is expensive, apparently. Anyways, one of the things that'll be in there is these cool biker slap koozies. If you haven't seen them yet, it's like you can just slap that thing on your whoa, where's the camera at? Wow, right there it is. Slap that thing on your beer can, or you can put it on the down tube of your bike when you're shuttling with your buddies, and it'll keep your paint from getting scratched. So that's a pretty cool thing. Anyways, let's go ahead and get on with this. We're going to go ahead and bring Tony on, because I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing me just ramble about this stuff. So what's up, Tony?
What's up, Robert? How are you?
Good, man. I'm just getting back from riding today. Oh my God. I looked at my Strava on the way home, and I had 8,700 feet, almost 8,800 feet of climbing this week.
Really?
And yeah, it's just nuts. I don't even like, when I first started, and as you know, and some of you guys that are listening might not know, I've been doing this weight loss thing, and like the first 2 months I was riding road Monday through Friday, and then just mountain bike on the weekends. And then like I started like adding in some mountain bike rides during, like, after the road ride during the week, like maybe one or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was doing that because I was like, it's a really efficient way to burn a bunch of calories in a day. And then once I got to kind of where I'm at now, where I'm like, I don't really care about the road bike riding as much, just as long as I ride. Mm-hmm. And so like my mileage has gone way down, but my elevation is like,
yeah. So I've asked this question as someone that doesn't ever road bike. How is the mental experience? Like me coming in, like you saying how much you've been road riding versus mountain biking kind of like became like a meditative state for me, because like, when you're going on a descent, you have to kind of like focus, right?
Yeah,
Like if you're not focusing, you're gonna probably go TV or something.
Uh-huh.
On a road ride, you're out there for a long time. Is it boring, or what do you do anything to like
It's totally
keep
boring.
yourself?
I don't even like it at all. I honestly don't like it. The only reason I do it is because I can walk out my door, and we have this paved trail that follows a river from Sacramento. That's where I live, to like a neighboring city, Folsom, and it's like 36 miles long. So like you can just go over there and you bang out 20, 30 miles, whatever it is that you want to do real quick, come home, and then you're like, wow, I burned 1,500 calories. That was easy. You know what I mean?
And I mean, it's better than the gym, right? Like you're out there
totally,
and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, dude, I couldn't do that. Like, those spin classes are pretty fun. I will say, like, I talked a lot of smack to somebody in my past about doing those until they finally got me to go. And I was like, oh, okay, those are pretty fun. But I couldn't imagine just like, I don't know, you just go in and like walk on a treadmill or
I used to do it. I used to be a gym guy, and I actually signed up for the gym before the pandemic just because I wanted to start getting some weights and things like that. But I was kind of dreading it. And I remember go back when I used to go to the gym a lot. It was always like the motivating factor was terrible. You were bored. I would have to listen to podcasts, but like still, it's just, I feel like it's like the time you just can't wait to get out of there every time I was there. Just counting minutes, please, like it's at work or something.
Yeah. I would do, when I went to the gym, I didn't usually do cardio there. Once in a while, like I would do those, the spin class or something like that. For the most part, though, I didn't do any cardio because it would be like I would run at lunch or ride bikes or something like that. So it's always been like do cardio outside. And if I went to the gym, it would be mostly just kind of like do a workout really quick.
Yeah. I feel like I was kind of forced to. I was like, I came from the East Coast, so the winter is just like a black hole.
Yeah. Like, where are you from back east?
Connecticut.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I grew up in Connecticut, and I moved back out here about 7 years ago. So yeah, when you said the beginning,
you've been here more than once then, huh?
Yeah, it's
let's get into it, man.
The short story is I grew up in Connecticut. I'll give you like my 30-second life story.
Dude, we got like 2 hours, man. You can take it.
All right, good. I feel like it's kind of interesting. So yeah, I'm from Connecticut originally, grew up there, and I grew up skateboarding. That was my life. My mom actually owned a skateboard park in Connecticut called the Playground. I was like this cool skate rat,
right? And
ended up getting sponsored. After high school, I got sponsored by a company called Foundation, and I was like, they were like, you can come on this tour. We have 2 vans. They're gonna pick you up, or you could follow your plans, because I was gonna go to college, and I basically was like, screw college. I'll go back someday.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna have this opportunity again.
College. That sounds
So I mean, I got picked up by this van of like all of my superhero, pros from back in the day, like Jamie Thomas and all these guys from 3 different companies, and threw me in the van. It was before Jackass, but Bam was on the team. It was like that whole era.
Oh,
and I just got sucked into that world, and we went on a 2-month tour, and they were like, come move to California. And that's what became my life for 4 years in the 90s. I was a 90s kid, but it was crazy. I mean, the house situation was a skate house, your typical skateboard career house, like drink, party, wake up, go skate, come back, do the same thing. All the days blend together, kind of like the pandemic here. And I mean, it was like one of those situations where I'll fast forward a little bit. It was like, living that rock star lifestyle, traveling around the world. And then I had an injury to face. I tore all the ligaments in my ankle right before I was about to turn, like actually get pro in a contest. And I was in the semifinals and moved back to California. I was sitting on the couch for a year, not doing anything, watching the days go by, and I missed the video part. And I'll just get raw with you. Like a lot of the people that I was living with, we moved to West Hollywood. They got some money, drinking, partying too much, and I was like, kind of saw the writing on the wall, and moved back to Connecticut to get my life together, I guess.
Dude, I know.
Or like figure out what to do. I always said, like, hey, when skateboarding isn't paying the bills, or like, and it's time. I was like 24, and I was hurt for over a year, and ankle wasn't getting that strong. So I was like, I'm going to go back and figure it out. But when I moved back to Connecticut, I thought I was going to get my life together, but ended up doing is just like slipping back into party mode, because hey,
Right.
what else do I have to do?
Yeah, no,
It took me a few years.
Yeah.
So I went back to school eventually, got a journalism degree, and then hit up my contacts back out here in California from the skate days. I'm like, hey, journalism degree. You need a guy with a journalism degree. I've been doing social media, I've been writing, and I come from skateboarding. How many people can offer that? And they're like, move back out here.
Right.
So I sold everything I owned and drove back out here and kind of been here since, I guess.
Oh, wow. That's pretty crazy. Dude.
Not a lot of mountain biking in that story yet, but that's kind of the gist.
Dude, it happens, man. You know, I came to California because I wanted to be a rock star. So,
oh, yeah?
Yeah,
dude, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm actually from Pennsylvania. So
dude, I didn't know that.
I'm a back Easter too, man. Like, and I had came out here right before I graduated high school because I was living the party life in high school. And, and I came out here, and then I joined the military. And while I was in the military, it was like, you know, I played guitar and sang enough to like hook up with the ladies, you know, and I was like, you know, there's some schools back here that do like audio engineering kind of stuff like that, so you could like record like artists and stuff. And it's like, I'm going to go back and go to school for that. And then I'm going to, you know, work on having a band, and we'll see how that plays out. And long story short, here I am, you know, an IT guy on YouTube, right?
Whatever we've done in our lives up until now led us to this point, Robert.
Right.
Talking. So
yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like when you think about things, like it's just, it's always interesting to hear people's stories, like how they end up wherever they do. So, what do you miss about home, man?
I'll tell you what I don't miss is the winter, but what I do miss, I will say this: when I first moved to California, I didn't miss this, but now I do. I miss the weather, like the rain, and like I used to get annoyed with like switching like the weather mode of like, what can I do tomorrow? Like, is it going to be thunderstorms? I miss things like that. Those are like the exterior things I miss, but I also miss the pizza and food and stuff like that. You know,
I miss
my family's
food.
But dude,
dude,
I mean,
nobody
pizza,
out here knows what stromboli is. Do they have stromboli up where you're at?
Yeah. I'm Italian, so I grew up in an Italian house. My mom used to make that stuff.
Oh,
that's why on the channel I always joke about meatballs because they come from my mom's meatballs. I miss the food for sure.
Yeah, for me, like Italian food back home is like super cheap too. So it was like I left home and you could get like a large pizza with 2 toppings delivered to your house for like $6. Yeah. And that was like a really freaking good pizza. And I came out here and it was like my friends were like, let's go get pizza. I'm like, all right, sweet. We go. And we like went the round table, and it's like, first of all, this stuff tastes like crap. And they charged me like $35 for it. It was like, what is going on here?
I had a similar experience with California Pizza Kitchen. It's fine, but it's not like, you know, back home, like you just said, you get a $6 pizza from a mom and pop Italian place. It's like the original recipe from Italy. You know, like that's the pizza you're getting. That's totally different.
Yeah. So I definitely always miss like when I go home, I pretty much eat stromboli almost every day for like 3 or 4 days straight. And then I'm like, all right, I think I got my fill. So
it's heavy though. The food is heavy.
They don't mess around. The thing that's funny about, I don't know, I would imagine it's the same where you live. Like when I go home, like nothing has changed at all. Like like there is still a like a sub shop on that corner, and maybe now instead of it being called like Pam's, it's called Joe's. You know what I mean? But it's still a sub shop, you know. And it's like
totally. It's funny because this doesn't really happen anymore, but years ago when I would go home, I would see people at like the local pub, and it felt like I was in a movie or something. Like everybody's still at the same bar, still kind of living like the high school dream. Like everybody kind of in high school kind of married each other. Like, I don't know. It's always interesting, but I get that like nostalgia for like a week, and then I'm like, okay, cool, I'm ready to go. Like, there was a point in time where I was like, you know what, screw California. I'm tired of spending all this money. I'm going to go back there, and it's going to be great because it's so much cheaper. And I like went home to visit, and like the main street through town speed limit is 25 miles an hour. and like the city I live in is not like a little tiny city either. And I'm like, I drive this fast in my driveway. Like, like I can't handle it. Nope. I'm apparently I'm a Californian now. So yeah, me too. I think so. I mean, I would be open to moving, but it would have, now I'm like, so mountain bike, it's focused. It would have to be somewhere within some kind of culture or scene. My wife is a swimsuit designer. So we're kind of like, I see forced to live in Southern California. Like it's a bad thing. It's beautiful here. But you know what I mean? Like if I've been traveling so much, there's so many places now that I'm like, would be open to, or before I didn't even know about, you know, more you see. But yeah, I do love California.
Yeah. You know, I really, really like this place geographically. I don't agree with all of the policies and stuff, but geographically it's like probably I love it here. The weather's good. There's like everything that I want to do, you know. But we've been talking about maybe moving out of the state, and because my daughter's about to graduate from high school, my son's been out of the house for a couple of years now, and it's like, yeah, we could go anywhere. Yeah. You know, and the first thing that comes to mind is exactly like what you said. It's like, okay, well, where is how's the riding?
Yeah. You know, do you have a spot, like when you're saying that, is there a spot that you have in mind that you're thinking about?
There's a couple of spots we had talked about. And I think the ones that get the most traction was we talked about Texas just because of there's a lot of IT stuff, IT industry down there, and you can get into the Austin area and you can still have like some pretty decent riding. It's no California that as far as the riding goes, and then the other one that probably has the most traction is Idaho, because it's like they have light winters. You know, if you're like in Boise, you can drive to the snow, sort of like how it is here in NorCal for me, you know, like, so if you want to ski, you can still do that. And then there's a boatload of riding. So it's like, and then like, to me, like maybe Colorado, you know,
I feel like that's on every rider's list.
Right.
Sure. Like,
right. Because
the winters are a little harsh though, right?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I don't want to get into that. You know, I don't want to get into where I live up here. I mean, I don't know exactly how the weather is down where you're at down south, but my assumption is mostly warmer. And maybe once or twice a year, I'll walk outside up here and have to like scrape my windows. Okay. And, you know, and when that happens, I'm like, it reminds me of home, and it's like, I get that weird twitch and I'm like, nope, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. I remember what this is like. Yeah, totally. Out of sight, out of mind until you have it right there. Like I have all these memories of, scraping my ice off my windshield for 2 hours and warming up your car for an hour.
Right. I'm like such a procrastinator, and like I am not one of those people that wakes up early in the morning and like is like, oh, I'm like waiting to go to work, you know, like I'm like dragging my feet on everything. So like the thought of getting up and then having to like dig my driveway out so that I could pull my car out, like I'd be like, no.
I remember actually calling out of work for that before Connecticut.
You're like,
I looked at it, I was like, no, I'm not going to do this for right now. A half day or something. Sometimes it's nasty, right? You're from Pennsylvania. Sometimes you wake up, it's like 2 feet. Yeah. Like if there's not a plow coming, this is going to take me half the day anyway. Like you got the driveway.
Where I live in in PA is just like some winters could be super light, you know what I mean? It would like snow a couple of times, couple inches, enough to like be like, oh, it looks great, you know, and maybe go sledding or something like that, you know. And then but then there's some winters where it's just dumps on you all winter, and you're like, this is stupid, I'm done.
Yeah, it feels different. Those winters are crazy. Yeah, you just feel like you're stuck in the house. Like if it wasn't for video games for a couple of years there, I would have been like, what am I even doing? Like
right, totally. So how'd you go from skateboarding into mountain biking then? So like,
so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
In Connecticut, I kind of got introduced to it. I worked at like a shop during college called Action Sports, and they had mountain bikes. And my good friend Rich, it's like, take any rentals you want, let's go out and ride. He got me into it. Riding in Connecticut is extremely different than it is here. It's definitely like flat, rocky, more cross country style. And you know, I kind of just got into it. I wasn't like skateboard into it. You know, it was kind of a hobby on the side. But when I came out here is when it really took shape for me. Like the I don't know how to explain it. Like pedaling up for 30 minutes and getting a descent had something I had never experienced before in Connecticut. Like there's mountains out here and valleys and things where I had a whole different experience. And I started to get that rush that I was getting from skateboarding, like that, like drop into a ramp and here we go. Yeah. And at the same time, I was kind of getting older. And even though I worked in the skate industry, I wasn't able to do the things I used to do when I was younger. Like, I'm not jumping down handrails anymore. My brain says yes, my body says hell no. So,
Right.
you know, like that type of mentality. And I started to realize, like, hey, I'm kind of getting that same feeling from mountain biking that I missed in these years. And I just kind of slowly realized I was like hooked, and my skateboard passions transferred over to mountain biking. I mean, I'll always be a skater kind of first, because that's like doing it for 30 years or something. But now, like, the way I used to think about skating and watching skate videos has turned into like watching mountain biking videos and watching, you know, our channels and stuff like that. So I guess it slowly happened, but one day I realized, I'm like, this is what I do now, you know?
Right,
I'm
right.
biker.
I've always been a biker. I've always been a biker. So like I was like BMX when I was younger, and then like I mountain biked with, my mom was dating this guy that was into mountain biking like back in the 90s, and like so I would go mountain biking with him and all his friends. They were like, you know, whatever, mid 30s or something, and so that was like what I did on the weekends with them. And then I would, like, you know, ride around the BMX bike, you know, jumping off of stairs and knocking people's trash cans over and stuff, you know, like all that stupid stuff. And then I did skate for a little bit, I think when I was in like middle school, and I could never ollie. So I was like, apparently I need to quit.
I think skating is one of those things that it's, if you dabble into it, you're going to hate it. But if you commit to it, you'll eventually, it'll grow on you. It's like coffee or something like that, acquired taste. But yeah, but like, did you notice from BMX days? Cause I did that too. When I started riding, I started to like those like little balance points and things still were there kind of like, you know, like,
totally.
Yeah, but like those like memory resets, like, oh, I remember this feeling, like going off a curb cut felt like a little jump here and there, and that was like it was helpful.
I was watching who was it the other day? I think Jeff Kendall Weed. He was doing this this thing on like teaching somebody how to jump or something. I don't remember exactly what the point of the video was, but he started explaining like bump jumping, and like I was listening to him explain it, and it was like, yeah, I do that all the time, but like I didn't really think about like how I do it. I'm not obviously. I mean, you've seen my channel. I don't do like, hey, this is how to ride a bike, because like I can't explain it. Like my way of explaining it would be like, dude, just hit it and then jump. You know,
just go.
Yeah, like bounce right off of there, dude. You'll be good. Yeah, you know, and like. So like he was explaining it, and as he was explaining the bump jump, I was like, yeah, like the way that I learned that was from riding BMX, was like, you know, when you're going down the street and there's like that little bend of the sidewalk from where somebody's driveway was, if you hit that, you could like pop way up in the air, you know. And it was like, I didn't really think of it as like a thing, you know, until I was watching his video, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's what you do. You know, it's
like, there's things like that, right? Like the thing that you took for granted, and is for some people not, right? Like that's kind of like a skill set that you brought with you that you took for granted. Not that you took for granted a bad way, but like you just had with you, and you kind of skipped that one. That's kind of cool.
Have you taken anybody? I mean, you're a pretty solid rider at this point. Have you taken anybody new out lately?
I feel like I'm going to name drop right now. And
go ahead.
This is the person. I started riding a little bit with Henry Golding. So I live in SoCal area. Do you know who that is? He's like the guy that was in Crazy Rich Asians, the lead guy there. He was in the movie The Gentleman with that Richie movie. He lives here, and he started watching. He got in mountain biking, so I took him under my wing, and I have a video with him. But I was riding with him for a couple months. And it was kind of like one of those things where I didn't know who he was, and then I like showed the picture to my wife, and she was like, that guy wants to go riding with you. Oh my God. And she like turned red, like Super Crush or something.
Yeah, that's totally me, dude, with any professional mountain biker, dude. They'll be like, dude, that was Richie Rude. And I was like, oh, really? I didn't know that.
Totally.
Or like, so
I mean, he was like super cool, and he wanted to learn, and that's what I loved about him. He didn't want to he came with a specialized great bike and everything, asking the right questions. And here's the thing. So into it for 2 months, constantly texting and talking and riding every few days. And then he just kind of like didn't ride anymore. And I'm still trying to figure it out. Like we talk still on Instagram and stuff, but he just he's probably not watching now, but and I'm wondering, and I'm bringing this up because I'm wondering how many people do that, where they get really stoked on whether it's mountain biking or something else, and then they just kind of move on. And maybe it's just a phase. I'm not really sure what it is, but for me, it was hard to describe, hard to understand, because I love mountain biking so much. I was like, I can't imagine getting into this thing and then not really being into it anymore. But like, it could be like anything, like maybe life takes over or something.
Yeah. Some people do that though too. They just like juggle like their side hobbies. Like I'm so like an all-in kind of person where it's like I just don't have time to do anything else.
That's
like,
kind of how, I totally hear where you're coming from.
The main reason I was asking that though was because when you take somebody new out, you realize how much you have taken for granted. Like there's like so much, like so many trails that I'll take somebody on and it'll be like, oh, they're a new rider. Okay, well, there's like 2 technical sections. And then I'm riding the trail with them, and now I'm actually thinking about it while I'm riding with them. And I'm like, this whole trail's all effed up. Like there's 2 spots that are really hard. And everything else is still pretty bad for somebody that doesn't know how to like really ride. It's like, and in my head, I was like, oh yeah, this is an easy one. So I always
that's actually happened with him where I was like, yeah, we're just going to go down this little steep section here. Just whatever. This is just the roller to get into the gnarlier section. And he was looking at me like, so this is the entrance? Like, same thing you said. I'm like, yeah, you just go down here and you snap right. And he's like, I'm going to walk this part and then go, it's like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
So my lady's like, she rides too, but she's like way better at knowing like the difficulty level of the trail. So like, I have to just run it by her. I'm like, this is where I'm going to take them. She's like, no, you're not. I'm like, well, but, and then I'm like trying to sell it to her. I'm like, no, it's not that bad. And she's like, Rob, I've ridden this trail. Like, I know what you're talking about. No, don't do that. So I'm getting better, allegedly.
That's why it would be tough, I feel like, to teach or be a guide full time. Like, I make trail guides and try to give people a heads up, but like taking someone actually out, because of where our skill level is and how many years we've been doing it, is totally not really transferable to how you think something is easy to where you first started. Everybody's starting point is different, right? Like if you have no experience on a bike, that's less than where we started because we at least had BMX, right? So it's hard to really take your brain to that area because you don't know what that person is comfortable with right off the bat. Yeah,
and it's just like it's just interesting, it's like as a new person, we've had a few people this year that we've helped get into the sport. And so it's really been eye-opening to me. Like I'm like not even thinking about telling them how to brake because I just assume how to stop. You know what I mean?
Or which one to press. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and or they're super nervous that they're going to pull the front one too much. And, so it's like, so if you like take a step back and you think about, okay, that's just braking. Now they're also thinking about trying to pedal. Now they're also trying to think about how to change this freaking gear. Thank God it's only like the rear derailleur now, right? Otherwise it would have been the front and the back, but hey, we took away the front derailleur, but guess what? We're going to throw in a dropper too. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
you got a seat going up your butt and you're trying to go downhill.
And it's just like, it really made me really kind of start to notice like how much that I truly take for granted. Like when you're going through a technical section that's super fast and you're just like throwing the bike around, like you're pushing the handlebars forward to pop over this, but you're putting your weight back like this. And then you're pumping through this little section. So you don't have to pedal because you don't want to hit any rocks. You know what I mean? Like, just like all this little stuff that you're doing. And you're like not even thinking about it. Like the only thing that you're really thinking about is like, don't die,
totally. I will say this though. There are times like, too, from riding over the years, there are times when you get to the bottom of a trail. Like for me, a big thing was turning, right? Like making sure your feet were this and this, and you're transferring your weight properly. Like I'll go through a flow trail or something and I'll be snapping the turns really fast and keeping the speed and actually gaining speed through pumping. And I'll come to the end of that sometimes and I'm like, wow, I remember I didn't know how the hell to do that. But now those things are so automatic where you're like, you get a little appreciation from where you get like that moment of realization where your skill set is now versus like 2 years ago. Those little things pop in and they're kind of nice,
I don't know what it was in this last probably like 2 years. I mean, maybe it had something to do with starting the channel or something. And actually like, I think maybe that's what it is. Because when I started the channel, before I started the channel, I mean, I rode still probably every weekend, but I just like rode the same stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was really like pushing my like skill set. It was like just get faster on the same trip. Like you're going to do that if you like keep riding the same 4 places over and over again.
Totally.
And then it'd be like, once every couple of months we'd go somewhere big, and do a big day trip or something. But it wasn't like it is now where it's like, I mean, I don't even know, I could be in like hundreds of miles away from each ride from day to day. You know what I mean? So it's like, and for some reason in the last couple of years, like my skill set has just like totally changed. And I like something like that, what you were saying about dropping the pedal on the corners and stuff, like I didn't do that before either, and it was only in the last few years where it was like, maybe it's just because I was riding with better people, or you know what I mean? So you're like doing things to try to keep up, or maybe it's because you're on camera now and you're like, don't want to look like a putz, or you know what I mean? Like I don't know exactly what it is, but I actually had this conversation with my buddy yesterday when we were riding, and I was like, over the last couple of years, it's just like, there's a section of the trail called the Confluence up here in Auburn that I it's like a downhill trail. So it was like when I rode, regular dude, no channel, like that we probably came down that in like 9 minutes. You know what I mean? And that's when we were like, dude, we were hauling balls, man. That was awesome. And now I'm like sub 6 shooting for like 5:30. You know what I mean? And it's like, that is tremendously faster on us. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that's minutes. Downhill trail, that's huge.
Yeah. And I thought and the thing is like, no matter how fast you're going, you think that's fast at the time. You know what I mean? But like I would look at like somebody's like on time on Strava back then and be like, who is doing that? Like, how are they doing that? Like, I'm going as fast as I can go. Yeah. And like, and even now, I mean, there's still guys that are like a minute or so faster than where I'm at. And I'm like, I don't even know what they're doing to get another minute out of it. Like, I feel like there's like no more speed to be had, but apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I love thinking about stuff like that, because think about those minutes that you cut off. Like those are just automatic skill progression points that you don't even think about anymore. Like it's the way you're turning. It's the way you're putting your weight on the bike. It's the way your confidence is. Like, you haven't noticed it and I haven't noticed it because it's just so low, gradual over time, right? But when you see those time differences, you fill in the blanks. You're like, oh my God, like, there's definitely, you're a different rider now than you used to be,
Yeah, there was actually a video on my channel. We rented these giant trance bikes, and it was like, I expected it to be like this because it was like a low end bike, and I was originally I wanted to go try some Yeti, and the shop didn't have it, and this other shop had these like bottom of the line giant trance for like $30 or something like that to rent. So I was like, whatever, let's go do this. And it ended up being like a super fun bike, like way playful. And that day, me and my buddy got like right around 7 minutes on the Confluence, and we were just like, holy crap, dude, it was so fast. And like, it took me like a while until I was like trying to beat that time, until I actually started beating it. And now it's like, I come to that trail like on my hardtail, and I'm like, I'm gonna take it easy today. I'm not even gonna try. I'm just having fun. And then it's like, that's a 7 minute run. You know what I mean? So it's like,
that's awesome.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's just interesting how the stuff changes over time. So totally. What possessed you then along the way of learning mountain biking to decide to start doing YouTube?
So the short story is like, I got a Rilo 360 for my work, and it had the stabilization in it. And I was like, what if I just bring this on mountain bike rides? So I did. You remember the Rilo originally, it didn't really look that good. It's kind of like, put it up to YouTube, but it was still fun. It had stabilization. I didn't know anything about GoPros or gimbals or anything back then. So I just would wear it on rides, and I would like make these little videos and talk to my wife and to my dog Pip, and just kind of like make my wife watch them at night because I didn't know. I was like learning iMovie and like putting these things together, and she'd be watching them. And at first she thought it was funny. And then after like a couple of weeks, she's like, I can't watch these anymore, Tony. Right. You're going to have to do something else. So I was like, all right, let's try this thing. Like I just started making them for YouTube, came up with the idea for the channel. It was based originally just chorally on specifically on trail guides in SoCal. And that's kind of how it started. So I would go to my local trails, talk to the camera, kind of like all you guys were doing in BKXC, just making videos. And then slowly from there, it just progressed into what it is today. Yeah. It was started as an experiment and it became a real thing and people started watching it. Probably like for you, you're like all of a sudden people start watching your videos and you're like, they like this, I guess. Like,
do you watch your old ones ever? You ever go back and look at them? Do they make you cringe?
They always do.
I don't understand how I got any subscribers.
Like, I don't. I mean, like, because it's always, and you know what's going to happen? I'm going to be looking at the videos that I'm making now and probably think the same thing. Maybe not as cringy, but like in a year from now, I'll be learning. I don't know how much or the editing will change or something, but I mean, even like the way I'm editing back then, like I'm like, there's so much dead time between them talking and just like audio's all. I mean, hey, we all start somewhere, right?
That's the one thing I try to tell people when they start, dude. Just cut everything, dude.
Yeah. Even when you think you're done, keep cutting.
Cut it some more. Just cut. Yeah. Like when I watch my old videos, that's probably the thing that goes through my mind the most is like, should have cut there, should have cut there, should have cut there. Oh wow, you should have cut there. You know, like
totally. You know, it's actually funny. Like I feel like this only happened 6 months ago, or maybe it was a year ago now. Paul, he's had on your channel, Paul Upundry, he gave me some advice one time. He said, kill your babies. And it was when I was doing this intro where I would like put music to like me driving to the trail in the Rilo and have, this like 30-second opening. And I was like, I kind of love editing that thing. And I love the way that Rilo looked. But then I realized like, oh my God, get to the action, Tony. Like, what are you doing? You're like procrastinating for a full 2 minutes before your video even starts. And it was like, since I did that, I feel like the video just clicks and moves so much more smoother right to the content, little things like that, like from you guys or from like, I don't know, people that have had channels, like those things are really helpful and like help to shape, I think, from experience,
Yeah, no, I hear you. Actually, I was watching this interview from Mr. Beast the other day. I don't know if do you ever watch his channel? And that's one of the things he was saying. He's like, start your video out and just tell people what you're gonna see. And when he said that, it was funny because like that's kind of how I start my videos. Like I'm always like, hey, I'm in Auburn today. I'm gonna do the biggest ride I've ever done. And then like, my little intro is like 5 seconds long, and then boom, you're getting to the story. Yeah. But and he's like it just helps so much more because you're letting people know what they're about to watch. Like they click the thumbnail, they kind of have an idea, and then you let them know, and then you go from there. And those things though, you don't learn it without like doing like making the mistakes. Like I've had a lot of people that I've tried to help along the way with YouTube, and there's some advice that you give that they just don't understand until like, they've done it for some time. Like I was thinking about that even with myself. There was like some advice that I've gotten, where it was like, this is a good example. What do you make videos about? You just got to tell a story, and I would tell people that too at a certain point, like, yeah, you got to just make sure you tell a story. But I didn't realize what that really meant until like down the road. Like to me at the time, like when I was hearing people tell that, I would be like, yeah, the story is I went out, I got on my bike and we rode. And then anything that funny happened along the way, I put in there, and then we finished the ride. And then that was the story. And it's like, no, that's not the story. The story is like, hey, I got this new bike and I want to tell you about it. And here we're on this trail. Or, hey, I have never freaking beat 5 minutes up this hill, or what, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm trying to do today. Like those are the stories, not the like, and at the beginning, and I think too, like the mountain bike YouTube world has changed, in the last, few years, at least since I've been doing it. Like when I first started, like, you're right. BKXE, like he was, just go out, ride a bike, and that's it, and that's kind of what, right. And that's what Single Track Sampler was doing. So that's kind of what we all did. We were like, okay, well, it's working for that dude just quit his job. So I guess that's going to work, like,
he was doing it.
I'm going to do that too, and, so, and then next thing but I don't know, to circle back around to it all. It's like, after I go through all of that though, it always like come back to that. Those original videos, they weren't done well, but people still subscribed. So it's like, there's something there that I kind of joke around with, some of us other creators, where it's like, all that time that we spend like dialing in the freaking color correction or whatever. Like, people don't give a shit, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's a subtle thing. I get it. And then some people do, but like most importantly, and you're right. Like some of my most viewed videos are those that are still getting those views, right? So, and they're being watched. So there's something about them that some people find is special, same as you. Like, and you know, and I hate to get to our own horns, but maybe it's like us, like just being ourselves, right? Like, I mean, that's what I feel like that's what a lot of it is us trying to be vulnerable and trying to be ourselves and trying to be, you know, as true to ourselves as we can and bring everybody along for that ride and talk about mountain biking and skill progression and all those things. But at the end of the day, hey, we're the ones that are kind of like you're hanging out with. So if we suck, then you're not going to watch us. If we're dicks or whatever, you know.
Yeah, totally.
Like
some of it's not even personality though. I mean, there's like, you know, just it's some of it, I guess, is just like making good videos, you know, because I had that conversation with another friend the other day too, where he was like, oh, I could never do YouTube. I'm not like animated like you are. And I'm like, dude, I know some guys that got some pretty badass channels and you never see them. They just do voiceover and it's like, they're just explaining, you know, it's like Savant who I was thinking about, you know, like Savant I think he still has more subscribers than me. And like, you never see him. Like, I don't think his face has been on any of his videos. You know what I mean? It's like, and he's always voiceover. It's always like calm, cool, collected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's got one of those ASMR voices. Like,
right. So it's like, you don't need to be the freaking loud guy to be like popular on YouTube. You know, you can be whatever you want. Just make good videos, you know?
Totally, man. Provide like you said, a story or like be informative. You can learn something from his videos too. Like they're fun to watch, and like he's always kind of like adding some kind of informative feature. Like, oh, okay, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, he was the first subscriber on my channel that wasn't one of my friends.
No way.
Yeah,
he was an early one to me too. When he subscribed and he commented, I was like, hyped. So, yeah, dude. Thanks.
I totally thought he was a troll. I was like, this guy. He was like, great video, man, and I was like, this guy's full of it. He's just saying that. Like, when's he gonna ask me for my credit card? You know?
Where's the pitch? Where's the rub?
Right. This is not happening. I don't believe it. You know. Yeah. So it's kind of crazy, you know. And it's over time. The channels have definitely been. How has it changed your life?
Oh, dude. Like I don't even know. I always say it in my channel, like subtly, like But I mean, I go. How does it change my life? I mean, I'll be just completely honest with you. Right now, it's completely changed my life because I am trying to go full time. So I used to work. I was been at Etnies for a couple of years. I was at this company called Soul Technology. I was a marketing manager for the skate brand called America. Moved over to Etnies. Yada yada. Got laid off in the pandemic on April, which is totally fine. Millions of other people did too, and I'm okay. But it was like the same time that the channel was gaining like 1,000 subscribers per month. And I was like, well, maybe this is a blessing and I'm going to make a run for it. So I was like laid off. And then now since this probably May, I've been going all in and focusing all my energy on the channel. And so as far as changing my life right now, literally it's changing my life because I'm putting so much effort into the channel as if it is my job and it has become that. So, you know, I'm right now kind of paying the bills in a way from the channel. And I'm looking at this as a possible future. I have a big announcement next week on the channel. I have a first official bike sponsor. It's a bike brand that's never sponsored a YouTuber before. It's one of my favorite brands that I went after. So like you kind of know who that is. But
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
But yeah, like things like that are happening, you know, like around, you know, in Southern California and California in general, like everywhere I go, people recognize me, which is completely bizarre to me that happens, but I'm super appreciative. Like, dude, like getting that appreciation in person is amazing. I mean, I'm sure you get that same thing, right? Like when you're out there, like people are like, Robert.
Oh yeah. Especially when I'm like that Auburn, you know, that's my most local spot that I ride a lot. You know, that's like the go-to, like, I don't know where to go. Let's go to Auburn. You know what I mean? And like, so I've had a boatload of videos recorded out there. So pretty much anybody that lives in this area has probably looked up a video for Auburn. You know what I mean? And they've watched one of mine. So it's like I go out there and it's just like easily 10 people almost every ride. You know what I mean? Where they're like, so it's like,
like at first, isn't it weird? Like it's shocking. And now like you go and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to meet some people today. It's kind of fun. Like,
No, it's totally cool, man. Like the one that got me, man, is one day I was on a plane and I'm walking down the aisle and some dude said like, what's up, biker? And I was like, what? Like, did that just happen? That really just happened. Like,
yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, man. And I can understand how like people, like really famous people, like get to a point where they're like, man, I just want to get away from all of this, because sometimes like I will go to a spot, and some days like maybe you're not feeling like great in your headspace and you just want to go out and like get some single track therapy. And you're like, I remember there was a ride that I went to and I was like, I hope nobody sees me.
Yeah. Or you're just feeling antisocial that day, right?
Yeah.
On your own on your lone ride.
But then I felt like an asshole because I'm like, dude, seriously? Like,
yeah, I know what you mean. But like you have to kind of try.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, I'm in that mind state. Sometimes I'm like, let's just ride together. But sometimes I just don't want to. Like I want to say hi and bye and just keep moving. But like, because like I'm not good at meditating in person or anything. But like sometimes people always ask me, how come you ride alone so much? Well, first started out because I was always riding during the week because I worked from home, and then it became something that I kind of cherished and liked because
right.
When I ride, I'm like so focused and meditative that like it's like a mental therapy, like it's like 100%. Emotionally helpful to me. So
I always say you can't think about anything else when you're riding. Like when you're going down a super chunky fast section, like there is no other thought in your mind, and that's what I love about it. Like,
and it's funny. Like usually. A lot of my crashes, I'll say half of them have happened in those sections where I'm not focused that I take for granted.
Yeah.
And you just do something stupid and go OTV or something like that. And that's what reminds me, like, it's because you weren't paying attention. Your mind was thinking about work or something, like you're off somewhere else.
Yeah.
Forces you to do it.
Right. It's good. It's good though, man. It's good for the soul. So anyways, back to like the people and stuff like that of the channel, like that, that is a fun part, and I definitely don't want to like be up here, like sound like I'm grumbling about people saying hi to me because I hate it whenever people send me a message. Like I'll post a picture of that ride and then somebody's like, oh yeah, I saw you, but I didn't want to bother you. And it's like, dude, say hi. Like seriously, man. Like,
I always say,
like
don't be weird about it. I mean, like, here's the thing. 90% of the time, I always am in the mood to be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
But like that 10% is just like the wild card where there's just like a day where something happened or you wake up on the wrong side of the bed or I had too many beers the night before. Like whatever it is, you're just kind of like, but like most of the time, like always. So.
Yeah, I don't even care, man. Like people will be like, can I get, like middle of a climb? They're like, mind if I take a picture? Yeah, dude, I'm looking for a reason to stop anytime. So like, definitely.
Like for you, how the channel has changed your life? Like how, I mean, aside from people recognizing you, like it does for me, like one of the things I'll lead into with you is like, it starts to become like a priority, right? Like you start thinking about the way you think about your life is different, right?
Yeah, totally. I think for me, the thing that changed the most though, that I'm like seriously the most like happy about is that I went from, riding those 4 places all the time to like, the whole world is a possibility now.
Yeah.
And
great.
I never like, dude, there's so much good riding around here. Like I've done hundreds of videos at this point and I'm still like going to new places, and so like the channel like really motivated me to go other places. And, if it wasn't for the channel, it wouldn't be like, hey, my buddy got married in Hawaii and we're looking up like, where can we ride? Or it's like, hey, my lady's going up to Boise for some meeting for work and I can tag along because there's this trail system up there that I can go ride. Totally. Just like stuff like that, where it's like, now I've like been able to experience so much more of this sport and so much more like happiness of that, those beautiful views and that like, that feeling of triumphing, like winning a challenge because you got to the top of this mountain, and that is like priceless, like really truly priceless. And the thing that's even cooler about it is because of the channel, then I've been recording it. So when I'm like 70, I can watch all this stuff still, you know?
Dude, you said it right there. We are creating like a video album of our lives right now. You know, like it's funny, like I'll just bring this up. You wrote in your caption, is Tony Casey Neistat's twin? And I was like, it's funny because I didn't even think about that, but I remember I watched his channel and he literally said that recently, like, why did he start making these daily vlogs again? And he's like, well, you know, a lot of this, when I look back on my New York videos, it's like a photo album of my life. And I got nostalgic. So I'm like, I'm going to create that in California. And that guy's like kind of like hit or miss with a lot of people. It's kind of whatever, but like,
I like him. Somebody on the comments even said that Lifted Adventures. Have you ever been told you look like Casey Neistat?
I don't. What about when I take the glasses off?
Oh yeah, I almost made the thumbnail with a picture of Casey Neistat in the corner with like a circle and a red X through it. Like, and I was like,
not him,
right? Yeah, because I did that arrow and was like, here's Tony, and then I was gonna be like Casey down there and like not Tony, and like. And I was like, maybe it's just me that thinks he looks that way. So
yeah, I've gotten it in the comments a lot too. I've got definitely. It's always when I'm wearing sunglasses or glasses. But hey,
yeah, there you go. Right, especially being in SoCal, people probably were like, "Dude, I'm gonna meet him," because then he's in SoCal now. He's not in New York anymore, right?
He's in Venice, I think. That's why, like, we started making those daily vlogs again in California. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make another photo album out here." I mean, he's like the, guy that invented the vlog in a way.
Right.
Like I don't know. His cinematography and the way he edits. I feel like when I watch it, I can try to learn something not to replicate, but like he's really creative with the way he does stuff. So I always try to throw it into his little vids.
No, it's really, his videos are fun to watch. I mean, that's the thing. Like even it's like, hey, he's skateboarding down the street and then he's doing this and then he's doing this and he's like buying coffee and then you're like a minute into the video and you're like, I don't even know what I'm watching, but like, I can't stop,
Somehow in the end, it comes together though. You're like, oh,
yeah, totally.
Little story.
Yeah. He's definitely good. And I think this is the thing, you watch all these other creators and that's how you learn, you just watch what they do. Like some of the ways that people tell you to like and subscribe that don't sound so like phony or like, just like, the same thing, so repetitive, you'll watch other channels and this guy will say something this way and you'll be like, oh, I like that, like I can use that here and there, stuff like that, where because that's the stuff that like it's sad you have to say it, because it works, it really does. Like you have a video where you're like, hey everybody, freaking hit subscribe, and all of a sudden you're like, bam, I got like 300 subscribers.
I feel like we should make a disclaimer right now, like, hey everyone that's watching, we don't love sales pitching you guys, but in our analytics it shows that like 70 to 80% of the people that click on our videos aren't subscribers. So thank you to all of you guys that are already subscribed, but this is not for those guys, because it's a reminder to like, hey, you could keep watching this. And it's kind of like a thing you said, Robert, like as much as it's like it's kind of annoying, it's kind of a must-have in a channel. You have to throw that mental reminder to hit the button, and because it works, it brings people back. I
think that the like for me, like when I first started watching YouTube, and I'd always hear people saying that, and like I'd be like, this is so annoying. Why do they always say that? They're always saying, always saying that. And then it's like one day it was like some guy, I'm listening to him and he said that. And I looked down and I was like, oh, I'm not subscribed to this channel. Oh, I should hit that button, like, and then at that point I was like, okay, I get it. Fine.
Yeah. And then it became for you and me, like for me recently, like the Patreon thing too. It's like, how would people know about that unless you bring it up in the video? You kind of have to. It's not like a feature on YouTube where you click the Patreon button. So
and
you kind of have to.
It's tough too, because like I think one of the things that all of the creators do, and I've even noticed this, with like Seth and like the big guys too, is that you just assume that everybody's like watches all your videos and they already know this. So like Seth, for the example, or not, was it Seth? No, I think it was Alex the other day. He like posted something. He's like, well, I'm sure you guys saw on Instagram. I'm like, maybe not. Like you have 300,000 people on YouTube or 400,000 people on YouTube, and you got like 150K on Instagram. Like, and they might not even
that don't know.
Like, so it's just crazy, and I think that's one of those things that you need to take into consideration as well when you meet people, is that some of them have watched all your videos. So they know like hours and hours and hours of you, and you know now their name. You know what I mean? So it's like they're like coming into a conversation with a guy that they know really well.
And sometimes they say that. I feel like I already know you. And I'm like, meet you.
Do.
You know? I mean, that's part of it. It's just definitely an interesting dichotomy with that stuff. Like how much, and it's a reminder to us how much we put ourselves out there, right? Like, I just go week to week, and then you look at your library and you're like, damn, there's like 100 videos there.
Yeah, right. You're just trying to make another one.
Exactly.
That's hilarious. So like you said the channel's kind of changed since you started, and I did read your about me page or whatever you want to call it on the you should probably update that. I know. So like you did start out, doing trail guides, and how do you see your channel now?
It's kind of like, without me planning it, it's become, I still kind of do trail guides in its way. Like right now I'm doing a series in Central Coast, come along on a ride with me. And there are those, but it's become more about like my life in mountain biking, my skill progression, stories within that. I feel like I'll always have trail guides as like a piece of it, like a nice little nugget, but I can't just keep making trail guides forever. One, and two, like trail guides are very specific to a very specific location, right? So like I started the channel in Southern California, so I've basically made a trail guide, I want to say, for all of our great loops down here. So if you guys ever want to come to Southern California, definitely check out my library. But that's not something that's going to be of interest to, the rest of the United States or globally, right? So I try, because now I've seen the subscriber base has grown so much, and I see people from all over the world. I want to try to focus on videos that are more based around mountain biking as a whole, and something that everyone can relate to, which I feel like it's kind of might bum out some of the local subscribers in a way, but I'll still be riding around Southern California, but I want to make stories around my riding around here that it's not just based around these trails themselves, maybe it's the bike I'm riding, or a new hit that I'm going to try for the first time, or beating my Strava, or whatever it may be that day. Like I want it to be based around something everyone can kind of have an insight into, or an interest in, rather than just the people that live around me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And I think that's one of those things like that like I was saying earlier, where it's like, you have to go through these motions till you learn it. And I did the same thing as you, dude. It's like, I'm okay, I'm going to try to ride everything around here. And then I rode everything. I'm like, well, either every week I have to drive like 8 hours away now, or I got to figure out a way to do something else, and then you start to realize like, oh, there's so many stories that I can tell that I don't actually need to like go anywhere for, or, you know, like that far for, and I always try to remind myself, like Seth started in Florida, with like one trail system to ride or something, you know what I mean? And he's at, whatever it is, 2.5, 3 million subscribers at this point. But it's like you don't necessarily need to be out there like just shredding some awesome trail, it's like tell a good story.
Like most of his videos are, I feel like this year has come from his house. Like his own
right.
And he's creating interesting stuff every single week and building off that. And it's like, he's like the guy. He's like the guy that I feel like a lot of us look at him like he's something like a mentor in a way for a lot of us. I don't know. Is that too much to say?
No, not at all, man. I think that, I mean, obviously he's super successful. So, I mean, what do you want to look up to? You don't want to look up to the guy that's like friggin' not doing good. Right. And I think part of it though, is like, I mean, have you met Seth in person?
I haven't. No.
Yeah. He's a super cool guy, man. He's just like the rest of us, man. And I think all it is that he's had a couple years of freaking making videos in front of us, know? And so that's the thing where I feel like if you keep doing, let me take a step back. I always told my kids when they were little, like, if you have something that you really like and you like put all your effort into it, and you'll be successful, and that's kind of like what it is. I think it is with YouTube as well. It's like, you just keep doing it. You're going to be successful. Like that guy I was talking about earlier, Mr. Beast. I think he's like 50 million subscribers. His channel for like 8 or 9 years was like garbage. And he still had like all of his new old videos. Like it's like him playing Minecraft and him like just talking about being bored and, but he did that for so long that people were just like, what are you doing? Like, and but what he was doing was learning and learning and learning. And eventually, it stuck,
Yeah. And what's amazing about his channel, he's figured out a way. Well, he's got the balls enough to put all that money into all of it, all of the next video. Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like that right there, like what happens to a lot of people, I think, in YouTube channels, they find something and then it's working, and a lot of other channels duplicate it, right? And it gets saturated.
Right.
What he's found is a niche and a way to do it where nobody can really copy what he's doing.
Yeah.
Who's going to invest like $3 million in a video this week? Like nobody's going to. You can get creative enough, but you're not going to bring that bang with it where it's like, oh my God, wrap your head around that much money and he's going to give it to some stranger. Like there's nobody that's going to duplicate that genre, whatever you want to call it, that he's created. So he is like on his own mission, man. He is killing it.
I think that's the part where where I'd really love to see my channel grow, because I have like ideas of videos that I could make, but it's like definitely just like money is a thing. You know what I mean? So like for them, for example, like money's not a thing. It's like, hey, let's go buy all the cars at a used car lot, and anybody that comes up to buy one, we'll give it to them. Like what? You know what I mean? But it's like, well, that's interesting, and so like mountain bike wise, it'd be like, that's where I would love to be at with the channel. I mean, obviously not giving away Lamborghinis, but like right. But like, hey man, I don't know what it's like to like pick somebody and go freaking get hella dropped on top of some mountain and freaking do this ride. You know what I mean?
Don't give away your ideas, Robert. That's a good thing.
Right.
Like that's the stuff right there. That would be great.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Think about like if we as a mountain bike YouTuber, like I guarantee you did a video that you walked into a bike shop and picked some dude standing there and gave him a freaking $10,000 bike, people would be amped. They would watch it. Right. And that was one of the things that like that interview that I was watching, that guy that he said, it was like at the very beginning of his channel, it was like somebody reached out to him and they're like, we'll give you, $5,000 to make a video. And he's like, yeah, make it 10 and I'll give it to a homeless guy. And they were like, okay. And like, literally that was the video. Like he walked out and was like, hey, so you're panhandling today? Yeah. Well, here's 10 grand, dude, and it's like, but that was the thing, was what you said, like he had the balls to be like, I'm going to invest all of this into it. And what did it do for him? Like maybe he was broke for another year or two, but now his channel is like so big. It's like, we're buying a private island and making our own freaking episode of Survivor.
Yeah, he's got his friends as employees now. Like he's got a whole thing going on. Like I feel like he must have gone into it and said, "I'm not going to pretend money is a thing."
Right,
like, and he had to go in like looking at it as like Monopoly fund money. Because otherwise, how can you do that? It's crazy.
I bet we just helped him out with a couple more subscribers.
I know. Like, who's this Mr. Beast? But like, I feel like everyone that's on YouTube must know who that guy is. He's like the biggest channel in the world by far.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No,
I don't know how much we're helping, but hey.
Right. No, it's, I mean, I think that's, I would love to be able to get to that point where, with the channel where financially, like you can be creative as you want, and like, so it's just, keep working till then. And at this point, for me, and I don't know about you, like your own personal like perception of who you are and what you want to do in the channel changes as well, and like initially when I started out, it was like I had different ideas of where I want to be than I do now, and now it's just like, man, I just wish that I could make enough on the channel where I could do those things where it'd be like, hey, I want to go like teach my buddy back in Pennsylvania how to ride mountain bikes. So I'm going to fly back over there and like show him, you know what I mean? Like that would be cool, and how you frame the story, like that would be like, people would dig it, man, so I don't know. Who knows?
I feel the same way. The way that I've thought about the channel since it started is completely, I'm not a different person, but the way I think about the channel, I feel like a different person, right? Like I started the channel as an experiment. I got to 500 subscribers. I remember actually saying this in the video, like, I'll never have a Patreon. All of a sudden, you get to a point where I got hit 10,000 subscribers. like getting laid off from work. I'm like, this is a perfect time to start that. Started that. People are interested in that. So then like, you know, like the outlook on your channel changes from that point on. You're like, okay, maybe this could be a thing. And then you start thinking about like the ideas you're talking about, like, hey, flying to here, let's put some money into this and maybe this could be worth it. Or if it doesn't, hey, we tried. But like the idea of things change as years go on and as you learn your skill set, and the more people that you bring along with that, I think is I don't know, it's kind of an awesome process. But like you're one of the first people I started subscribing to back, you know, when I started my channel. So to be honest with you, to be here is kind of flattered, dude. It's kind of rad. Like,
how many subscribers do you have now?
I'm about to hit 16,000.
See, dude, I remember when we met in at Sea Otter, I told you that your channel would get bigger than mine. You were like, whatever, dude. And you're bigger than mine now, dude. So
it's funny. I for everybody, I kind of hunted Robert down at Sea Otter. I was like, where are you? He's like, I'm right here. You're probably like, what the hell is this guy? Is Tony? Like, he was rad enough. Like I met him in
Moonlight Leatherfoot.
Leatherfoot was there, and we met at a bar afterward, and super rad, super good advice. And I was like too like tired to go and hang out after, but he invited me out after. That was awesome.
I know we had a good time. Like I don't know, man. I just like people. I mean, so for me, that's the thing that's like that's fun about being a creator, is that like I now have so many more people that I can talk to. So like it's like that's exciting for me. Like I enjoy meeting people and hearing their stories, and like so like that like we were talking earlier, you know, that 1% of the time wherever I'm like, don't talk to me. Like like most of the time I'm like super amped to like be able to talk to somebody, and
me too. Like that's what happens. Like if I'm in a mood, like I'll just sit there. I feel like when somebody sees me that truly know me, I'll talk to them more than they probably thought they wanted to talk to me.
They're like, well, this guy shut up already.
See you later, dude. Like,
that's pretty funny. So so you got this sponsor coming up, and then what else do you got going on with the channel? Like what are you excited about doing this next, you know, year?
So this is the first time I'm able to take the channel this serious. So I'm right now lining up like travel plans for the next few months. So I'll be in the Central Coast again 2 weeks, and then I've planned out a Sedona trip in December. I've got another Sedona trip in January. I'm going to be going back to Santa Cruz near you. I want to talk to you about that, about riding together when I come back out there. How close are you to Santa Cruz?
It's like 3 hours. It's not that far.
Okay, it's kind of. I mean, it's not close either, but
but I go down there.
Now.
I go down.
Yeah, this is the first time where I've had like, you know, the luxury of being unemployed. I say that. But to be able to take channel this seriously, where I'm able to lay out the next few months of travel plans, and I'm working with hotels and small businesses, you know, channel sponsors, and I'm the first time and I'm also taking like my day job was marketing and stuff like that. So I'm trying to take my experience in that and work that into the channel, working with people. And that's kind of where the sponsors are coming in. And, you know, it's like this bike sponsor that's coming up next week is a huge one. It's going to be kind of
that is awesome
changer for the channel and for my life. To be honest with you, they're going to be helping out with the travel budget. They're going to be providing bikes. I don't want to give too much away. But it's close enough to where I can work with them.
No, that's awesome, man. I think that's like really exciting, you know, and we'd be lying if we said, you know, when we started the channel that we didn't want to make money at it or something like that. You know, like for me, right. You know, like for me, it was like, you know, back then is like watching BKXE, like quit his job and be like, man, like you just like do your, like you could ride bikes and freaking like live. That would be sick. You know, but you know, and initially there's definitely like no way that was like the mindset for me, because like I have a really good job. I'm like, I have to make a lot of money on YouTube before I can make more than the job that I have. You know what I mean? So, but initially I remember saying like, if I could make enough money to pay for one bike part, that would be worth it. You know, like I just remember like, you know, but then, it just snowballs, you know, and it's like, you know, now it's definitely like there's definitely like making more money than that now. But I totally underestimated how much it costs to run a really good channel though.
Yeah.
Like I made a parody video a few months ago, like how to originally it was started out like how to be a YouTuber or something like that. And I think I put like how to like utterly fail at YouTube. But like part of it was like being like joking, like, okay, first thing you need to do is buy like $10,000 worth of camera gear, you know, and like I was joking, but on the other end of it is like, I can't like, you know, you have this channel now, you can write stuff off and you, at the end of the year, you add all that stuff up that you bought and you're like, oh my God. Like I didn't know like lights and tripods and this and that and the other like added up to that. And then you stack on all the friggin' bike parts and crap that you're buying too. And you're like, holy cow. Maybe maybe if I just stop buying all that, I don't need that job. You know?
At first I was just like, I just need a GoPro. Right. And then you start to learn, you're like, no, man, if you really want to do this and make it look good, like, I don't know if it's a secret. A lot of us YouTubers talk in a secret Slack group. Like, no, there's a camera. All right. There's a camera department there where we talk the camera section. And it's like, dude, the cameras that we're talking about and the camera I'm looking at, we're looking $3,000 for a quality camera that you really want. That you need the new A7C Panasonic or, you know, whatever,
whatever it is. Yeah.
Whatever it is. Sony. There's a lot of stuff that goes into making things look good for our channels that we take seriously because we know what it looks like when it doesn't. Right. And then once you see how good it can look, it's hard to like not want to make it look that good, you know?
Well, and then it's like, you just have multiple, you know? So it's like, for example, even whenever it was just a GoPro, it's like, well, you need more than one in case that one doesn't work that day. You need two gimbals. And then it's like, well, now I need a drone. That's a grant. You know, it's like, but
then I need a gimbal for the gimbal that's going to break because they always do. And now I don't need the gimbal, but I have the new Hero 9. And wait, do I need another one in case that one breaks? It's
right. Yeah.
There's like a, you know, if you take it seriously, then there's a whole repertoire that goes with it. It's kind of cool. It's fun, but at the same time, it's kind of stressful just because of the money issue. You know, it's like you invest in your channel.
Yeah. Definitely dude, all we need to do is just keep doing like Mr. Beast, man, and then we'll just be giving gimbals and freaking GoPros away.
That's all it is.
So are you
like Mr. Beast?
Right? Are you doing just Hero 9 now? Or are you using a gimbal still and a Hero 4? Or
I sold all my gimbals. I've been using the Hero 8 since it came out. I just for me like that seemed to be good, and I feel like what a lot of people don't know about the Hero 8. I don't know if they don't know, but the shakiness a lot of people see when they do the Hero 8, I feel like it's because they don't have the harness strapped as tight as it can.
Yeah.
I use the Stuntman harness and I strap that sucker so tight because a lot of, and you remember this, like you know this, wearing the gimbal, it's so heavy that it kind of pulls down sometimes, right? I've got it so it doesn't do that bob, and what the footage I get from it is really good. So I was using that for a couple months, and then I was like, I don't see the gimbal helping this. And for me, I was always looking for an excuse to get rid of the gimbal because it's added weight and it always broke down. The first 3 months I had the Evo gimbal, for all of you guys that don't know, we're talking about the Evo SS gimbal, which is the 3-axis gimbal a lot of us YouTubers use with the Hero 4 originally. Hero 4 has the best audio. I can go on and on about that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get rid of it because I always had problems with it. And it's just basically like you have the gimbal and you have the GoPro. So you have two machines, two potential problems on every ride, right?
Right.
You know, gimbal's SD card error or the gimbal not working right. I wanted to eliminate one. And I found that in the Hero 8. So right now I'm going back and forth between the 8 and the 9. The 9 at first was causing me problems because it would just shut off and I kept losing clips. And it hasn't really been like a stable camera. So right now I'm using the 8 just until I figure out what the hell's going on with the 9.
I think the 9 just came out with, they just came out with an update, I think, too.
All right, then that's good to know because I need to update that and see if that's the glitch because I was losing like clip after clip.
That sucks. Nothing sucks more than that. You get to the bottom of like some badass like run, and then you look down and your camera's off. And you're like, oh, great.
Yeah, and it's especially if it's like a descent. You can't get the descent back. That's the heart of the video. When I'm doing what I'm doing, right? Like you can't go back and have to like. I'd rather not deal with that stress and just have something reliable until that gets fixed. So
totally.
I'm kind of going back and forth. It's just like I feel like a lot of electronic companies now, call me if I'm crazy, it's happening in video games too. They're releasing products before they're completely finalized. Like they release them and just figure out what's going on and then do a patch. Yeah. It's like, well, I'm like I shouldn't be your test subject. I'm like the one that's buying the final product. Like figure it out before.
You would
That's
think,
just,
right? Do you think
yeah.
the reason that the 8 was working well for you or is working well for you is you guys don't ride in and out of shade a lot down there. So
Mhm.
like your lighting is pretty good. Like
It could
where
be.
like from because I've heard some of the other YouTubers say that, you know, that stabilization works well in if there's plenty of light. And like up
Mhm.
here, like I'm in and out of the shade a lot, you know, so
Mhm.
it's not like the PNW where it's just like gloomy, perfect freaking filming weather all the time,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and you down there, then you have like this really bright, you know, blue sky and not a lot of tree cover, you know, so it's
right.
kind of like Sedona. Like when you're in Sedona, it's like, it's awesome
Always gonna
filming
look
there.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the colors are just perfect.
That could be it. I did go to Santa Cruz last month or 2 months ago and
Hmm.
filmed in Demo Force 2 rides.
Hmm.
And I did see a little bit of that, but nothing to where I thought that I would
Yeah.
notice it like, hey, this looks crazy. But I do hear what you're saying as far as if that was going to be my day to day, I would probably be
Hmm.
a lot more picky with that because you're right. Out here, one of the things I do complain about is there's no shade, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's sunny every day, but sometimes for filming that becomes like a great for GoPro because like you said,
Yeah.
going in and out of shade, GoPro hates that. The lighting
Yeah.
gets crazy, gets blurry. But most of my descents out here, for
Hmm.
sure, just the same the whole way. It doesn't have to work that hard.
Yeah, yeah. Demo's pretty dark too, honestly, to tell you the truth. Like it doesn't like there's so many trees that you don't really.
It's almost like all shade.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it pretty much is all a shade because I know
Yeah.
I've gone down there before and like forgot my regular glasses and like had to wear like a regular pair of sunglasses and it was like, man, this is almost too dark to ride in this. Whereas
Yeah.
like my normal riding glasses are like a like an orange-ish pink kind of lens, so it like brightens things up but keeps away the glare. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I have a pair of those too. Like you can almost wear them in overcast because it kind of
Yeah,
just makes it more contrasty and crisp.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you'll be riding at dusk and like you take your glasses off and you're like, oh wow, it's darker out here than I thought. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
so. But anyways, yeah, I was just curious because honestly, I just got the Cali Invader full face, so it's like a really super lightweight full face helmet, like
Mhm.
like if a full face came in an XE version, like that's basically what they built.
Oh,
And
cool.
since I got that, and one of my GoPros, one of my Hero 4s finally died, so I like only have the one, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna try to buy the Hero 9 and like do the whole chin bar mount thing. And so I'm like really curious about trying that and like
Yeah.
getting that footage that way because like what you said, dude, like honestly, I would love to get rid of the gimbal. You know, it's a lot, you know, a lot to put on. It's a lot to
Yeah.
like the thought of just throwing it on my helmet and then getting the footage that I want that way. Like that sounds like super cool.
Yeah. I mean,
Have you tried it with the chin as well, or you like to
yeah,
test?
I did it. I did it once. My buddy Alan, I did. He let me use his little chin mount thingy, and I put it
Mhm.
on one day, and it was fine. But the thing is this, and this is this is what goes along with that, is that when you do that, you're gonna have to wear the full face on every single ride, right?
Yeah.
So even on rides that are middle, you're
Yeah.
climbing for, that's just kind of part of it, and he's accepted that. But for me, I think it's just personal preference. I like the way it looks on the
Hmm.
chesty a little bit more, so I
Hmm.
really want to make that work. And there's that alternative, right, where I don't have to wear the full face on the rides every
Hmm.
single time. It gets pretty hot here in SoCal
Yeah.
most of the time, so having a full face on, like in Laguna, on a no shade day when it's 85 degrees, just seems like a lot, like
Yeah.
for to carry for 2 or 3 hours. But it's something that people do. I guess it's just a matter of preference, right? Like
Yeah. For
I
me, I
really do
don't film every ride anymore. Like
I don't either. I
so
wanted
for
to talk about that with you. Yeah.
yeah. So for me, like I'm definitely not filming as much. Like when I started my channel, I stopped wearing a heart rate monitor because I was like, I just can't put anything else on. Like I'm tired.
Mhm.
Like I don't want to put this on and then a gimbal on and then this on and then you
Yeah,
know what I mean? It was
well,
just like it was like too much, you know. And just recently, I like dug that thing back out because I like looking at the data and I was like, you know, I'm not like filming like I used to, you know. And some of it is like on the biker channel, I'm only doing like a video a month at this point, and
mhm.
I've been thinking about kind of bumping it back up, but even at that, like I don't feel like I'd be recording as much as I was before because I don't know. I guess the way that I go about recording is different too. Like I could go out and do like some B-roll stuff on one ride, and then on another ride actually have the camera with me, or you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Is different and doing it too. Like I used to just take it out with me and not really have an idea when I first started the channel. I was doing more trail guides than anyway, but like now I have to have an intention of bringing in the camera. Like, what am I doing today? Like, because sometimes it's just fun to have on, like, I'll take that back. Like if I'm going to go and do a day where I'm like really feeling like pushing it, I'm going to put it on just in case like something happens, or if I like hit a PR that I never did before because I'm really shredding and that I did before, and then I can make something out of that. But overall, I need to not bring the camera with me because I don't want to ever lose that riding experience that I always had that made me fall in love with it, right? Like it kind of happened to me where I got burnt on skateboarding. I got burned on it kind of because I worked in the skate industry and I was around skateboarding all day for work. So when I sort of thought about going skateboarding, it felt like work. And I never thought about that happening, but it just did. So I stopped skating as much, going to the skate park. So I'm very aware of that with the channel. Like, I don't want to make it feel like going to work every day. Now that I'm taking the channel full time, I don't want it to feel like I have to film. I have to, you know, let's get this footage. No, it's like have the video idea for the week and then ride 2-3 days without it, so that when you have the camera on, you're ready and you're kind of like refreshed and you're not just going through the motions,
Yeah. I think part of the reason that I'm at where I am with the channel is because I did burn myself out, and so like I probably like my first 2 years just, was working like a regular job, and easily putting 40 or 50 hours a week into my channel, and just like, I got to a certain point where I was like, dude, like you need to like, you're not quitting your job anytime soon. So like, stop like pretending like you're going to, and like, and then outside of that, it was like, my one friend used to joke like, you're going to turn this into a job. And he did. And I did, he was right, and that's basically what happened, where I was like, I like making videos and I like riding bikes and I don't want to screw that up. So I'm like doing it at a rate now that I feel like is like what I can handle.
Let me turn that on its head though, because this is what happened to me. Say you got laid off.
I would go all in, dude.
I kind of feel like I totally see where you're coming from, because when I was working and doing the channel I was not putting as much time as it is now. And it's because I just felt like I needed to have downtime, right? Like I don't think people realize how much time it takes to, and this is not just saying like, woe is me, the YouTubers, but like it does take a long time to film a ride, and the editing process, if you want to make a good video, it takes sometimes 2 days. So you're talking about 3 days a week there, it becomes a job. If you love it, it doesn't feel like that. But if you have time that you want to be doing something else on top of a full-time job, it does start to feel that like stress, like I've got to put out this video. So, or
it'd be like, I want to go to bed right now because the lady's like tired, and you're like, no, I need to go upstairs and edit for like 4 hours. So
because I have to do this thing.
Right.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. I guess for me now, because it has become a job, but because I don't have my other job on top of it, this is fulfilling a space for me that feels healthy, because without doing this, I would feel probably depressed or something, because I wouldn't have a job. I would have nothing feeling productive. This just filled this void for me and giving me this kind of like goal that I'm thankful for,
I think the other thing though, that's really like good about what you're doing is that sometimes like I'm not going to be able to come up with a good other analogy other than this like shit or get off the pot kind of deal, right? So it's like you're thrown this opportunity where it's like, hey, I'd like to keep paying my bills by doing this, so I'm going to try really hard to pay my bills by doing this. And if you don't have that like motivation behind it, like it won't happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like what makes somebody go get a job? Being hungry. You know what I mean? Like you can't, if you don't have money to eat, you're like, I'm going to get a job, so like I want to eat, so like it's that same kind of thing. And I think that's, like, that's cool that you're chasing it, man. Cause I would do the same thing, dude. 100%.
I know you would. That's kind of why I brought it up. Cause it's like, it's one thing to have that on top of a full-time job, because it's hard to find the time, but if you do have the time, I feel like I would have kicked myself in the ass if I didn't try to take
Yeah.
it into this right now, right? Because
Yeah.
it kind of fell into my lap, this terrible thing. It's not terrible, but
Yeah.
losing a job I try to spin it into a positive because it happened at the exact same time that it was possible for me to make it happen, So if it doesn't work in the next year or 6 months or whatever it is, at least I tried and can look back on all the positives.
Not feel bad about it.
Exactly. Like, hey, that's exactly right.
So earlier we were talking about like how I came out here to be a rock star, right? And there was a certain point in going to school and all that I realized that wasn't like what my dream was anymore, right? And the reason that I'm totally okay with not being a rock star today is because I went through all those motions and realized that's not what I wanted to do anymore. But if I just if I just re-enlisted in the Army and kept doing that and never like went to California to try, like, then I would be the age that I'm at right now and be like, man, what would it like? Who knows what would happen?
Yeah. You'd have been like, what if I did that? And you did do that and tried, and you're like, oh, whatever. I didn't really.
Yeah. I mean, it got down to the point where it was like, here's a great job at this place. Like, do you want to do this? And then it was like, well, actually, no, I don't want to do that anymore. And that's like the super condensed version, but like ultimately like that's the thing though, I think like you got to try. And there's been a bunch of other guys though that I've, in the time that I've been doing this, that I've seen, go from their old job to like full-time, like for example, like the Lone Ranger, and some other people like along that took that path as well. And it's like a lot of them, it was like once they made that decision, that's actually when their channel like really started blowing up, because then you're like putting all of that effort into it,
if you had all the time in the world to do it, that's the time to do it, right? Like when you make that commitment, you have to do that, otherwise it's like a false start. It's funny you mentioned like BKXC in his car that one time, because when I started watching him, he was past that, he was already kind of like living it, and I went back to the videos and I remember there was that like car scene.
What was it? What are you talking about?
It was like when BKXC was in his car and he was talking about going full time. And I started watching his videos later, like probably a year after that, where he was already doing it full time.
Oh, okay. So you didn't go through that whole process of watching him quit his job.
But
and everything.
When I dug back into his channel, I found it, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like learning something about him and learning about. I feel like that was a good learning point for me when I started the channel, because I learned that everyone has that point, right? Like you don't know what's going to happen, but you're going to take a chance. And it was him just being vulnerable and being like, hey, I'm going to like quit my job and take 6 months and see what happens. And like, some people that I feel like at first I was like, man, I'll never be able to get to do that, because that wasn't a goal for me back then. But like when it started to become a goal for me, I kept thinking about that video, and I went back and watched it because it resonated. And I was like, man, he's kind of like in that mode where I'm in right now. And it just felt similar. I don't even know why I'm bringing this up, but we're talking on the subject of this coming up, and it's like these little go-to mental points where you are at when you start some new journey, it's like where your mind goes and remembers things that you bring upon. And I don't know, it's weird. It's even weird talking about me being a full-time YouTuber right now, because it just happened a few months ago and I didn't even think about it. It just transitioned into this thing that's like, okay, I'm going to do this now. And like we're talking about it and I'm like, am I really doing that? Like the shock hasn't worn off yet. It's happening.
That's really cool that he inspired you that way, and I think that, that's one of those things that's cool about being a content creator, is that you've actually inspired people like that. You might not have heard their story yet, but you have, that's like cool. Doing this like weight loss thing is like, all these people are like, dude, you inspired me to do this. Like I met some guy, I was up in Tahoe riding, and some dude and his dad were like walking down this trail, and I just like blew right by them. They're walking, whatever, and so I get up to this like spot where we're turning onto this next trail, and I'm just kicking it, and those guys like kind of walked up, and the dad's like probably like 65 or something like that, and he's like, hey, you do YouTube? And I'm like, yeah dude. And then he's like, yeah, my son watches your channel. And then I guess his son just didn't want to like break the ice or whatever, and so he started talking to me, and he's like, yeah, man, like I've been watching your weight loss stuff. Like I've lost like 30 pounds because like I decided to, and it's like, dude, like I'm like this freaking beer drinking, like foul mouth, like dipshit. And like, I'm I'm freaking like influencing people like that, you know, like that, like making people change like for the better. Like that's crazy.
Yeah,
You
dude,
know?
I was gonna bring that up. I watched I feel like I watched all of them. Those are super inspirational because I feel like you're wearing your heart on your sleeve in those videos. I think that's why a lot of other people have been drawn to them so much, because it's like, dude, it's not easy showing, it's not easy talking about that subject in the first place, and then showing your struggle and showing your natural reaction. So I'd say like I give you a lot of respect, and that's not, I know that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Just someone that's been on camera like that's like, what was that like? Was it hard for you, or you just kind of like, fuck it, like, sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
It's a bar,
like, man. Are you just like kind of like, oh, I don't swear on my channels. People are like, the outsider swears. So what was it like for you? Like, was that an easy thing for you to do, or is it like, did you just have to wrap your mind around like, this is my process, I'm going to show it all? Like, how did that go?
I think for me, it's just like it doesn't, like, the camera doesn't really faze me. Like I know in the past, like some guys would tell me like, man, I don't like always riding with my camera because it like messes with my ride. And I'm like, I don't even know it's there.
Yeah.
Like, and like for me, I maybe it's just because I've been doing, I'm sure like, dude, if I just started doing a YouTube channel, there's no way I can make that serious the way I am now. But like, you know, to hold the camera up when I'm about to cry because freaking I'm excited or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, like I'm just trying to capture this moment. You know what I mean? And it's not like anything other than that, you know? And you know, I never really thought about it, honestly, until you like asked me that, you know, like
that's good, I think, because it's not something you were even concerned with. It's just natural for you, and you were being yourself, and maybe that's why it wasn't like that.
No, like to me, it's like, just film it. It'll work out in the edit. You know, like,
it's always a thing. Like, I'm just gonna turn the camera on, and I don't have to post this. I could just do it. I have an option later, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff that I filmed for that, like, you know, where I was like, dude, I'm not putting that. I mean, like, you know, here's big fat 300-pound Rob freaking measuring his fucking fat ass belly in his movies, you know, on the, you know, it's like, no, that's not making the cut, dude. You know, like maybe once I get skinny, I'll put that in there to say where I started, you know, like, but like, but
some of it's just, well, some of it's too raw for you know, it's whatever you're comfortable with. But like you said, like later on you look back on that and be like, I'm gonna show that shit.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, like for example, like that moment I was talking about, it was a couple weeks ago at this point, like I'm like kind of drawing a blank what it was, but it was like, it was like I had like kind of taken some like a little break off the diet to just kind of like get my head together and like just have fun or whatever, and then I was weighing in, and I really didn't want to see like it be really bad, you know, and I was carrying this like guilt, and like, even though on the outside I was saying, no, I'm just having fun, I don't care about this week, this is like a cheat week or whatever, but like on the inside it was like feeling guilty and like scared that it was gonna like go really wrong, you know. And so like I stepped on the scale that day, and it didn't go really wrong. And it was like on one hand I was happy, and on the other hand I was like just relieved. And it was like, and I do remember like turning on the camera, and like I was just like, oh man, it's just overwhelming, you know. And I do remember like turning it off, because I really only have like that clip like of whatever I said. It was like 2 seconds, you know. And it was like my eyes were welling up, and it was like I turned it on, and I said what I said, and it was like, I can't do this, and I turned it off. And it was just like, man, I captured it, you know.
Well, what was the emotional part about it? Because it didn't go up, because you expected it to be.
It was a bunch of stuff, man. It was like it didn't go up. It was like it showed that I could actually like not be a complete Nazi on the diet, and actually like be able to live my life some, and like still be successful. It was like a bunch of different things that played into it being so heavy for me. But I feel like the thing that like about it the reason that I hit record on the camera is because when you feel that way, like people resonate with the way that you look, not necessarily, it doesn't even matter what you're saying. You know what I mean? And I knew that if I was feeling that, like when cause I already recorded me standing on the scale, right? So I didn't really need to point it back at me. Like,
right.
that was the only reason I was standing there with the camera, was so that it could like record me standing on the scale. And when I stepped off of it, and then I like had this like come like this emotion, right? It was like, man, I need to turn it around. Because obviously, like, because that stuff is like, that's some of the stuff that when we were talking about earlier, like where you cut or whatever, like now, like when I first started, like maybe if I wasn't talking, I would cut. And now I realize like there's point of where it's like that moment, like that. It's like 2 seconds of you're just, it's quiet. They're just looking at your face. You're thinking about something that you're about to say. And that carries a lot, you know, and
so your emotions right there. That's the painting.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like YouTube is like really like, at least what we're doing, like it's like, you know, like the ultimate like reality TV kind of thing. That's kind of what we're doing, right? We're like a single person reality TV show, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's we're our own show.
Yeah. So you have to capture that stuff, you know, and I think that's the stuff that like really resonates with people. Like when you heard Single Track Sampler like hit some crazy jump that he was trying to do for the first time, and he's just like super giddy and like, oh my God, yeah, and he's like high-fiving everybody, and he's just like, yeah. You know, like that, you can't like that's why like everybody like got the stoke from him, you know, because it was like, that's real, you know, like you can't bullshit that, you know. And so I don't know. Yeah.
So true. I mean, think about I crash a lot. So part of for me was learning to live through the crash. I don't know if this makes sense. Like, my instinct is to like go up into a ball, shut off the camera. But what I started to do is just leave the camera on and take the pain and be like, this is what it's like. We all have to deal with this, and try to show the process. And like, as scary as crashes look, we all go through these things. And you know, and like you just said, like Alex, Single Track Sampler, he's done the same thing where he's kept the camera on and he's talked through them. And like, I feel like as scary as it is, like offering that solace in between the crash and then the next part is like, hey, just part of life, right? Like the same thing with you looking in the scale and looking at your face and getting that emotion is like, this is the real stuff that people feel when their camera's not on or when nobody's around. Everybody can kind of like relate to those moments in between the craziness, you know, when you're in that pain mode or that
you can't do that. You can't do that when you first start though, too, because you just don't recognize it, you know, like I remember like getting out of my car and like to hold a camera out in front of me and like do an intro in a parking lot full of people, to be like, I'm gonna wait till these people walk away.
I mean, I still feel a little bit like that, but definitely like 70% better than what it used to be. Before I would do the same thing. I would hop like, well, there's like a person over there.
I'll film it later. You know, like, like
totally.
So I mean, so that I think, you know, is part of it where, you know, you get more comfortable with the camera, and then the camera doesn't become a camera anymore. Like, I think that's the thing where like where I said a minute ago, like I couldn't have done this if I was the beginning of my learning how to be a YouTuber, like, because then I would have been thinking about like, I'm trying to like record this, like me, whenever I point the camera at myself, it was like, I'm just talking to these people, you know, like, so it's not like I'm talking to this camera trying to get this shot because I know it's full of emotion and people are going to like it. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, I'm like, here's my friend I'm talking to, you know?
Totally. Yeah, that's exactly right. You couldn't have said it better. When I started filming, I was like, I pictured literally like people, you know? And now it's like you just said, like, it's just my buddies or my buddy. Just part an extension of myself. That I feel like somebody can, they understand me, you know? You have to kind of think of the camera as somebody that's on your side, right? Otherwise it's going to be like this weird mental battle. Like the camera's against you, then don't turn it on, because that's not going to be helpful. You're going to be acting different.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, too, I mean, it's like you're the guy editing it. So, like, if you're gonna look like an idiot, it's because you did that.
And I'm sure we all had those clips where we're like, no, not that one.
Right.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. You're the one putting yourself out there. You have the final say, so it's on you in the end.
You know, I want to ask you, do you like writing and recording with people more than writing by yourself and recording, or like
I like recording. I prefer by myself.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. It's like when I have the camera on by myself, I'm only worried about my ride and my conversation with the camera. And I'm kind of like focused in that. I just did my first group ride for Patreon. I was like 40 people. And as much as I loved the experience, it was hard to focus on what I was doing. Like, as I'm filming my ride, I'm talking to the camera and I'm trying to bring everybody else into that moment and trying to share the experience and make that part of the story. Not that it wasn't enjoyable, it just was a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's tough to do all those things together.
Yeah. I mean, if it's somebody that I'm friends with, like at MTB Allen, we ride together all the time. That's just kind of like super copacetic. We both understand what we're doing. Yeah. But if it's a group of people, it's harder because I'm talking to them on the ride, right? Like I'm part of their day, and not just part of the camera's day. So it's I'm juggling two things. Yeah. What do you feel like? How do you feel about that?
It's tough, man, because I like riding with people and having the energy of the other people and capturing that part of it. So I do enjoy that. But I also like, it's very hard to get the shots that you need to get when you're with a group of people, because like,
who wants to stick around for all that crap?
Yeah. Like when you're by yourself, you're like, you don't even give a shit. You're like, I'm going to walk down this hill and put the camera over there and ride back up. And now I'm going to walk back down the hill and I'm going to put the camera over there so I can have like 2 shots of me climbing up this hill, you know, and then I'm going to go down that 50-foot section until the camera can't see me anymore. And now I'm going to go back up, grab the camera, come back down, put it there, go back up again, and now ride by the camera so that I can have this other shot of like, you know, and it's like, you can't do that with your buddies. Like no matter how good of friends they are,
you can do is be like, hey, can you just hold this for a second and do it one shot, and then that's it. And then like I feel like after that, you're like, you've already used it up. Like, okay, enough, dude. Let's just ride our bikes.
So I definitely, I think I lost some friends when I first started doing my YouTube channel because of that.
For real?
Because they didn't want to necessarily go on those kind of rides.
Okay.
So like the guys that are okay with holding the camera and like making a day of it and just being chill about it, like those are the guys I'm still riding with. You know what I mean? Like, and the guys that just wanted to go out and hammer, like they're like, dude, I don't want to do that. I don't care about you changing batteries. Like, I don't care about you getting a drone shot in the middle of it. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, as much as I understand that, part of me is like, well, dude, just deal with it for 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
And
most of the
people, friends now.
Most of the people that I ride with are pretty chill, but I definitely know like there are some people that just like, even my lady, like she was like, no, I don't want to ride with you if you're filming, you know, because she's just like, she's like, I don't want to sit around and wait for that. She also doesn't even want to be on a camera. So like, for a long time, I don't even think she watched my videos. I think the only reason she started watching my videos is because I told everybody that she didn't watch my videos. And then she felt bad about not watching my videos. So then she watched them so that she could be like, no, I watch them. You know, so
that's great. So it's funny. Heather's over here listening, but I used to, I still try to have her be my rough draft editor. So I'll make her watch. Here and there now. It used to be every single week. I used to like ask her to do it. And now I'm like seeing that she's like, I know what I'm doing. And she's kind of she doesn't mountain bike. So she kind of sees every video as the same. So she'll watch my intros just to make sure I don't look like an idiot, I feel like. And then like, it's just off to the riding, but I get it. So does your lady, does she watch them now because she got in trouble or what?
I mean, honestly, if I asked her, she wouldn't tell me the truth. I don't think. I think she watches them just so that like I can't tease her about not watching them anymore, because and like I can't have her be like my I can't have her watch something like that, like what you were explaining, because her sense of humor and what she thinks is like, she's like way more polite and PC than me. So like she's like, you can't say that. That's
You're
not
coming from
like,
2 different places.
yeah. She's
Yeah.
like, you can't do that. Like people are going to think you're an idiot. And I'm like, no, people, that's why they watch my channel. That's like, do you remember why you started dating me? Because you thought that was funny. Now that you've had it every day for 10 years, you don't think it's fucking funny anymore. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Tired of it. I get it.
right. Yeah. Like, so it's just funny because her and I are like very different in that aspect. Like,
yeah,
she's definitely like more put together than me.
I feel like we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
So he kind of laughs at me more than with me.
Probably. Yeah, it's probably so. What anything? Any of those good laugh at you moments lately?
I don't know if I can think of it.
Let me tell you what I did.
Yeah,
I don't remember if I talked about this on my podcast last week or not, but I was trimming my eyebrows. And I have one of those trimmers that has like it's not the clip that goes on that's like here's a number 2 and here's a number 3, like, you know, so it's like one that like slides on, like click, 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 right? So like I'm trimming my eyebrows like I always do, and all of a sudden it's like and I like took like half of my eyebrow off. Like you can't tell now, it's like pretty much grown back, but it's like I took it down to like freaking cancer patient. And like, so like my reaction is like, I'm standing in the shower laughing. And then she's like, what? And like, and then for like the next week, you know, we're just like, she's laughing at me all week long.
Dude, that's great. I have you just triggered my memory. So I've been cutting my own hair for a long time. So I can't see the back. So I just take the scissors and start like, it's like before, I don't know if we were talking off camera or not. Like when I get organized, like I just go crazy, like start cutting my hair. I'll take a little snip here. And then in the back, I just grab and snap. So I always go to her as the gauge. It's not there now, but for the last 2 times I did it, there's just like huge chunks missing where skin. And it's like somebody butchered the back of my head. So, I mean, that's where she's just like, I don't know why you do that. Just come and get me next time. I won't ever do it. I'll just keep going and cutting.
She sounds just like Katie. She's like, why don't you just let me do it? I'm like, no, because like, let me tell you, wasn't not Priceless laughing at me all week long every time you saw me walk into a room? And she's like, yes, but I'm also embarrassed being in front of you, like beside you when we go places. You just don't care, and then I do.
Yeah, it looks like a fashion statement if you don't know,
right? I was like, dude, like, yeah, and for me, like, I'm always looking for an opportunity to like razz somebody or something like that. So if they say something like, I'm going to come up with some story, like, you know, something stupid.
Yeah. I'm part of the clown posse, man.
Yeah. What do you mean, dude? What's wrong with my eyebrow? It's always been that way. Like, yeah.
Thanks for pointing it out. I've been dealing with this.
Yeah. Right. Oh my God. My mom burned me with a frying pan when I was a kid. Thanks a lot. You're such a jerk.
Why did you do that to me?
Yeah, I do that way too easily. And then, so it's I just like messing with people. And then I think that's the problem with her too, is like, then she's like, she doesn't know when I'm messing around anymore, you know, because it's been like, I'm like, we've been together for like over 10 years and you still don't, like, you think that I was being serious right then?
Yeah.
She's like, no, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. I have the same bizarre conversations where I'm like, no, this one's real.
Yeah. I really meant that. No.
Right. Like family therapy moments right now.
Yeah, totally.
I thought this was a mountain bike podcast, Robert.
Right? Yeah, man. You just got to get on here and talk, man. That's the thing. That's the thing when I started this podcast was I wanted to listen to another mountain bike podcast, you know? And so I got online and I started looking for mountain bike podcasts. And the only ones that were on there were like, just like really like they got into the weeds a lot, you know, like about cranking torque Newton meters or whatever the hell they are. And like,
the nanometers and the Johnson rods.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. You know, I just want to talk about bikes, and if the conversation doesn't go there, then it doesn't go there. And I enjoy that, like, part of having this podcast and doing this thing. So I guess we should probably talk about bikes with that being said, right?
No, so with that being said, one of the reasons I will just kind of like, I agree with you. Like I listened to a lot of mountain bike podcasts, and not only do they go in the weeds, but they're talking about things that are over my head without explaining to me. I feel like some of them expect the listener to know X amount of information, technical information, where don't, you know, like, and I don't want, and if we do, let's say I know everything about a skateboard, I don't want to talk about the bearing of the skateboard.
Yeah, right.
Skateboarding as a whole.
Right.
I think that was awesome about what you're doing.
Yeah, it's just, and I think that's why I started. The same reason I started my channel. Like when I was watching BKXC, and it was like I was just getting into YouTube at the time, and I was like, man, I want to know more about him and less about like this ride that he's doing.
Right. Yeah.
And so when I started my channel, I was like, I'm just gonna freaking, like, I'm good at talking. I'm good at doing that. So I'm just getting on here and talk all the time. So that way people really get to know me, and like, because that's what I wanted to see. You know what I mean? So it's like the same thing, like why I started my podcast. It was like, this is what I want to hear, and it's not happening. So I'm just going to go do it and assume that other people want the same thing. And I don't know. So far, it seems like it's doing all right.
I think you're good. Yeah.
Sure. So we'll see, man. You never know. Like, this is funny. I was thinking about this earlier when we were talking. Like, sometimes I get fed up and I'm like, screw this, dude. I'm done. I'm just gonna freaking tell everybody on Patreon I'm freaking over it, and I'm just gonna go ride bikes. And if I want to record some video, then I'll do that, and I'll just make a video for myself. And then like being a YouTuber has like really become part of who I am.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wouldn't you miss it?
Yeah, and so that's the thing. That's the reason why I don't stop, is because it's like I like it, So it's like I really enjoy making that video and reading all those comments and like responding to them, and like being able to sit out in the garage 6 months later with my buddy, getting time went on and watching us do that ride, and like that's fun, and that's why I can't stop,
Yeah. So, I'm with you. Like, I feel like that's what I mean. Say this thing doesn't work out, right? Where I can't go full time and I get a job, I'll still be making videos. You know what I mean? Like, I still like the process. Maybe it won't be every week like I'm doing right now, but it will be a channel. Yeah. And it's that's what I mean. Like for you, for me, like this thing kind of is taking a hold, and it's become part of our identity. And it's something I enjoy in my life. So I'm not going to try to get rid of it.
So you're doing weekly videos is what you're doing?
Yeah, I guess I thought about this a little bit ago. I haven't missed a week since the channel started.
Do you feel like that is enough time for you to do like a really good video, or do you feel like you're like just kind of like meeting the deadline every week?
It depends. I think that there are the deadline videos where I'm just kind of like, this one's just gonna be not a throwaway, but just gonna be like, this is what I felt like doing this week. But what I've been starting to do is I've gotten ahead of the game. So I'll be a few weeks ahead, so that a video that I really want to put some time into, I have the time to make that one more exceptional. I really want to adapt to the quality over quantity, but I do want to do weekly videos. So I'm trying to find the balance between that right now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of those things where I've seen some of the bigger guys talk about, like, maybe it doesn't matter to do it every week. If you can, like, if you're gonna spend, like, let's just say for the point of the conversation, like it's every 2 weeks, but you're able to like really make a video that gets 50,000 views instead of 2 videos that get 10,000 views.
Yeah.
Like, so then is it worth it? And that's what I told myself whenever I was like going to one a month. But really what I do is like procrastinate for 3 weeks and then still do it.
And then still get that like urgency. Well, that's what I was going to mention next, is because even in college or school, whatever, like I don't really start to get that motivation until the urgency kicks in. So for me, the weekly works because, like you said, if I take 2 weeks off, I'm just going to wait till that anxiety of like, what are you doing, man? Get your crap together.
Yeah.
So I like to do it week to week, because like Wednesday comes and I'm like, what are you doing, man?
Right.
That's kind of what happens.
Yeah. The pressure is the best motivation, right? So yeah. And it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. There's a bunch of different ways to look at it. I think what I've been trying to figure out is how I'm going to take what I learned from this weight loss vloggy thing that I've done, and how I can apply that to my regular writing videos. And that's what I've been spending time thinking about recently, is like, I really like that, like connecting with the people in the vlog style of, hey, I'm talking to you about this, like this. so I've been like, how do I do that and get back to like, trail videos or, riding videos or whatever. And so I think that you guys will all see, that we'll see how it plays out, because I just I don't know. It's like, it kind of made me think about, where I started, and what I wanted like was to know more about the guy, and not necessarily the writing didn't really matter. Like, it was like, that's what got me there, and that was fun to watch. But realistically, I'm watching the different people because I wanted to like learn about them and see what they were going through, and so like doing this series over the last couple of months is really like kind of like refocused me into that, like, oh yeah, like that's what you wanted, and I actually watched one of my old videos the other night. My buddy like clicked on one of the old ones, and I was like, man, that was really funny. Like, and I've changed my production style to something pretty polished, over the last year probably. And I realized like, man, I'm missing some of like that. I'm not capturing who I am as well as I was before.
Because you're cutting too much, maybe? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's like, I don't know, man. I think maybe I'm trying to replicate. I was like trying to replicate some other people's style more, or I think part of it too is like, I tried to like make my channel a little less vulgar, and in doing that, I'm like, watching what I'm saying, and I think that and I have a sailor mouth, like I always have, you know what I mean? And so like I think some of the stuff that I would say that was funny that I was capturing in my videos, like, is mixed up in that stuff, and maybe it's like not like the delivery is not the same or something. So either way, like I mean, I'm still being myself, but it's just something I realized the other night when I was watching that video. I was like, that was freaking hilarious. Like, you're like, like that was a zinger. Like, I had been like so long since I had even watched it, so I didn't know. It was just like I was watching it like a regular person would be watching that video, and I was like, dude, that was great.
It looks like you learned something from watching your old videos, which is awesome. Usually they're cringeworthy, and you're like, oh, like I need to bring that back again. Maybe you're watching yourself a little bit too much lately, or something like that. Which definitely, I feel like that comes across, even for all of us. Like, for me, like, the more people that are watching, you're starting to think like, do I need to like change some things or not? But in the end, I always think like, hey, this is why people originally started watching. So I try to at least not do that as much as I can. But one thing I have done, I used to just make like 20-minute videos, and I've learned to try to cut that down in a positive way where there's not as much filler, so they're easier to watch. But I always worry that with doing that, I'm cutting out some of the good stuff too. Like some of the stuff that maybe I would have left in before that could be, like you said, funny or weird or just silly. Chopping it. I always worry I'm chopping it too much,
I know. I try to hit 15 minutes, but I've gone through some too, and it's like, man, it ended up being like 10 minutes, and it was like, you know what? But this is actually a really good video. So I'm gonna leave it there. And I think if I come to a point, there was one actually not too long ago that I did that. It was like, I don't know. I want to say it was just like 18 minutes or something like that. And it was like, like that's what it took to actually tell the story that I was telling. So I feel okay with that. And, you see, at the end of the day, dude, you'll see it on the analytics, whether or not it was right,
True.
So it's kind of funny that way, but it is what it is. Right. So, man, we're going to ask you something a second ago. Oh, do you ever want to go back and like re-edit your old videos?
I wish I could.
I
mean, I would make a completely different video. Actually,
I've been thinking about doing that to one of mine. I have this one video that like a lot of people really liked, and because it was just funny. It was like a funny day of me and my son. I like fell on the ground, and like just all these things went wrong, right? But when I watch it now, it's like all these like different cut points, and I've been always thinking about like going back and redoing like, I honestly want to go back and redo every video I've ever done, but that's the one, like, whenever I'm like, okay, be realistic. You can do one, Rob, you know?
Yeah.
And I always think about that one. I'm like, could I make that video like a million times better? Or was it actually just good enough the way it was, you know?
You should do it. I mean, because
Yeah.
think about it, if it was that long ago, a lot of the people that have come on board now since then have never seen it. So it would be a first watch.
Right.
You know, it would be cool. Like it say like, hey, go watch the original. Let me know if you like this one better.
Right.
I don't know. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. The only problem is like now I would want to like have all these different like B-roll and like kind of different shots that like aren't there. So it's like, so I don't know, maybe I could just use some like different drone shots or something like that from that area or something, get away with it. Yeah. I don't know. For me, like I'm such a perfectionist. So that was one of the things that was like beautiful about YouTube whenever I started, is that like once you upload it, like it's stuck. Like you can't go back and fix it. Because that was, you know, one of those things for me where it would be like, oh, I learned something new. Like, let's say, I can't think of a good analogy right now, but like that would be me, like typically would be like, okay, go back and redo them all now because you learned how to do this, you know, and then it would just be like this compounding amount of work that I would have to, you know, like
all these videos.
Yeah. So it's like, for example, like, I don't know, let's say I change my logo. Like my personality is like, okay, now you got to go change all your thumbnails. You know, whenever it was 30 videos, that wasn't that hard. You know, now it's like, you know, 200 videos. It's like, okay, well, dude, maybe it's okay that the old ones have the old logo. Like that was the logo at the time, you know? So like for the video and YouTube, it was always really nice to like put it up there, and it was like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing, to seeing the history over time too. And even I sort of look back on my videos or your videos, like that's where we were then, and that's how much we've grown. Like if you watch my first video till now and yours till now, look at the growth. I feel like
I know I got the 300 pounds. Like, growth was big, dude.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. I totally hear you there, dude.
Yeah.
So what would you say to yourself like 2 years from now or something like that?
What would I say to myself?
Yeah.
I hope you're still as motivated as you are doing this. And if you ended up in a full-time job, I hope it's not a 9-to-5 that you hate. That's like my worst. I mean, I'm very I'm very like, I don't like the 9-to-5, but I was fine doing it in an atmosphere that was open-ended, where I wasn't stuck in a cubicle, but like I get freaked out and kind of off if I'm stuck in a job I don't like. So for me, it's just important to be happy with how I'm making a living. And I hope I don't get, because I've been in the opposite. I've been where I haven't been happy. So I just don't ever want to have to be forced to go back there. And hey, everybody goes through ups and downs, and I'm sure I'll go through some again. Yeah. And if I do, I hope I learn from that again. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but I mean, you know, I feel like I wish I could talk to myself 2 years from now and that person give me the knowledge that I should have now. You know what I mean? Yeah. That would be helpful.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to get to be that person if you got that knowledge now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So
I have to grow to that. I have to learn and go through this stuff to get to that point, right?
Yeah. I'm stuck on the Mr. Beast thing today, I guess. But like one of the things he did, he like I think it's a really good idea. He recorded some videos where he set them for like 5 years from now to release. So and it was like him talking. So he like, one of them that just came out was like 5 years ago, him telling himself like, this is where I want you to be whenever this video drops. I saw it the other day, and it was it was him like telling himself like, you better be at 100,000 subscribers or like 1 million subscribers. I think that's what it was. Like you better be at 1 million subscribers by then. And it's like, no, he's at 40 million subscribers.
Was it when he was like getting going, or was it before he hit his niche?
It was like before he hit his niche. It was like he was like, because he started when he was like 12, so it was like when he was like 17.
I remember watching his like some of his. I remember going back and seeing some of his old stuff, just him talking to some cell phone with like a video game thing going on, just random nonsense, and then years it took him.
Right. So maybe, maybe we should do that, make a video.
It's not a bad idea.
Of
hold it.
Yeah. He recorded it, edited it, put it on there, and just, set the publish date for that day, whatever it was, 2-3 years later,
From other level. It's interesting because you watch him and he just seems kind of like this nonsense, crazy weirdo. And he's smarter than people give him credit for, considering. There's a guy, I'm just going to throw this channel called Patty Holloway. And what he does is he breaks down the bigger channels and the people behind them and what they do, how much money they make, and how their strategy has worked for them. And he just did a Mr. Beast one you should check out. It does a breakdown of how he makes money, what he's done to get where he is. It's step by step. And it's like super helpful for other YouTubers.
That's interesting.
With PewDiePie, Mr. Beast, all the bigger channels. And it's like super informative. It's like something you can take little nuggets from that video and be like, apply it to your own life,
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. So that's one of the questions I always ask when we're wrapping up, because we're pretty much there. It's been 2 hours, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the other channels that you watch? Whether they're mountain bike or not,
I like the Lone Ranger. He's always got something cool going on. He's got a great story. BCPOV. I was lucky enough to do a bunch of riding with them when they were in SoCal with Eric and Yuka. I really like there's something about his videos that stayed with me because I just like the what you're going to get from it. And even though you get to know what you're going to get from it, he's always doing something different. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like he's got his formula, but within the formula, he's always adding some crazy stuff, like some gnarly trail or like some stuff where you're just like, he's just kind of like riding along and it's just like a normal video, but he's doing like the steepest ride of his life. And you're just like, how is this just like a normal? I don't know.
Right. That's one of those channels that I didn't subscribe to for a long time. Like, but every time I watch this video, I'd be like, man, these are really good. And then I was like, one day I was like, why am I not subscribed?
Yeah.
But I go through these things where I like unsubscribe from every channel too. I'm like,
you do?
Like I get irritated with the algorithm or whatever it is, like sending me like whatever videos. I'm like, that's it. I'm unsubscribing from everything. And then that way I can just choose what I want to see. And then like 6 months later, I like have re-added them all back. But it's ridiculous.
I've been getting into with some weird stuff with I've been watching the Ciro Gordo series. There's a guy that bought a ghost town out in Death Valley. He does like a weekly vlog where he goes down deep into the mines. And then you know what the algorithm does with that, right? And all of a sudden now I get recommended a gazillion going down into mine videos. So
be
careful on what you subscribe to because you're going to get a million of those recommendations. But it's cool. Like, so if you look at my subscription feed, it's mixed with mountain bike videos and just other random stuff like that. So I can't just watch mountain bike YouTubes every single day. I'm just going to get burnt. So
your mountain bike channel, like when you subscribe to stuff, you subscribe to like you don't have like a personal like YouTube account that you subscribe.
So I do. So I have the Outsider, but when I watch it on my Apple TV, it's my personal account. And I didn't mean to do it that way, but that's why sometimes I don't comment on a lot of people's videos I watch because I'm watching it on my personal Gmail on my subscription. So I mean, I subscribe to all of everybody's major channels. I really like that, obviously, but like there's a lot of stuff in there, and I subscribe to some skateboard stuff, some obviously ghost town stuff, and I don't know.
I watched some guys. I watched some guys like I don't know. One week I went on a kick where there's like these people that go to like old buildings and like crawl through them and like just like. Sort of reminded me of what you were saying, it was like, oh wow, how did I end up in this? Now that's what I did for a week,
Exactly. You go down through the wormhole and you're like, I know too much about this thing.
Yeah, there's some fun stuff out there though. There really is. And like that's why I like asking that question, because like that ghost town guy, like for example.
And also too, like what I like to do when I watch other channels that are outside of mountain biking, they give you ideas to bring in your channel because a lot of the times the mountain bike channels, we are doing something similar. But it's good to get like an outside cultural, let's bring something like that into this,
Yeah, totally.
Little refreshers, I guess.
Yeah. When I was saying earlier about freaking like the like and subscribe thing, like what the channel that I was thinking about was First We Feast, the ones that do hot ones.
Oh yeah, that's one for sure.
Yeah. And he always has like these like really handy ways of like telling people to subscribe or like whatever. And it's like, dude, I just like it, so it's like things like that. You can pick that up and run with it. So
Totally.
Right on, man. Dude, thanks so much for kicking it with me for here 2 hours on a Sunday, man. It was a lot of fun chatting.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, right on, man. So everybody, if you guys hung out for the whole time, right on, man. Thanks a lot. Like and subscribe for sure. Like we've only said it we had like 16 conversations about
it. Yeah. So if you haven't by now,
right?
Do it.
So if you're listening to it on a podcast, do the same thing. Write a review. I like reading them, and I only read the ones on the Apple website. So if you guys write enough of them somewhere else, maybe I'll catch wind of it. Check those out. But if you're listening on Apple, I'll definitely read that one. Otherwise, like I said at the beginning, man, I really appreciate all you guys out there on Patreon. If you guys are thinking about it, definitely do it. It really helps the channel a lot. It definitely keeps things going. Let's just put it that way. And like that beer fridge doesn't fill up by itself. So you guys are doing a good service there. And then last but not least, it only takes a bike to be a biker. So get out and be one.